106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it. It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Is that me gold?
What the hell are you?
I'm a leprechaun, me dear.
Here, this is what you're looking for, right?
Close my eyes, startling, help!
I'm the leprechaun. Garth, I'm the leprechaun.
Cool it, okay?
I'm the leprechaun.
Stop it, all right?
Don't try and steal me pot of gold.
Thank you, Kathy Powers, for the $1 super chat that always brings in Lori Leprechaun. Is that what we're calling her now? We have so many nicknames for her. And I have an extra treat for everybody before we go into the show. Apparently, our unesteemed Mayor Lightfoot had the opportunity to meet Sleepy Joe Biden this past week. And I saw this picture of her in this, I don't know, this like really, really oversized jacket that makes her look like a turtle. And I ask you in the audience, who wore it better? Lori Leprechaun or Dana Carvey from The Master of Disguise? See what I did there? What do you think, Ed?
I had to dig deep for that one. I think Carvey wins just by a hair of a shell.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
Shell.
The collar's just a little bit bigger for him, I think. But honestly, the first time I saw this picture, I thought to myself, why does this picture seem so familiar? It's like a deja vu with that thing going on, and because she does kind of look like a turtle, I think.
Yeah, I just don't understand it. You'd think that she would have a budget to do her wardrobe properly, and to be properly fitted into a jacket. I mean, you're representing the city, right? I'm not expecting you to spend like $12,000 on an ensemble, but I mean, there are tailors, there are businesses that would happily make these adjustments for you, so you don't look like an old movie from the 80s.
She would be getting free clothes. Yeah. Well, that's going under the assumption
free clothes, but I mean, at least get the alterations.
Yeah, that's going under the assumption anybody would want to give her anything for free. And I think everybody's running for the hills when it comes to her, given how badly she's mismanaging things, which we're going to get into in tonight's broadcast. What do I got going on here? There is, we heard that Rahm Emanuel returned to Chicago, although we're not going to cover that. I do want to give a shout out to Rahm.
I would like to thank the great mayor of the city of Chicago, Mayor Emanuel, for help making this happen today.
That's always a favorite.
Hey, I'm in Chicago, but I ain't sticking around. You can't catch me, suckers.
Exactly. So, I usually like to, Friday's my big night. We do the show, and I like to, come home, shave, look nice. Unfortunately, traffic was so bad tonight, I didn't have enough time to shave because I was driving home on Elston, Ed, from downtown. And Elston has been narrowed like near, I think it's near, is it Fullerton? It's near Fullerton. It gets narrowed from between Fullerton and Western Avenue because they put in bike lanes. Now, I know everybody argues for bike lanes, but they're down to one lane there now. And the backup to get from Fullerton to Western Avenue so I could make it the rest of the way home was, loggerheads. And as I'm watching this little bike lane that's, making us one lane, I'm looking at that long sidewalk by all the car dealerships that there are no pedestrians on those sidewalks at all. At all. And this goes back to what we talked about previously, that with all the congestion in the city, you'd think that someone would come to a common sense solution how to use or how to figure out a way to zone certain really high congestion areas where bicyclists are allowed to use unused long stretches of sidewalk that are not pedestrian throughways. It's like you've got that, we've moved them into the street and we've got an entirely barely used section of pavement along the curb. Anyway, just something I was musing about.
They just started, expanding all the roads to get bike lanes in a lot of parts of the city. And so I'm going to chalk a lot of this up to a learning experience on the city's part.
You're giving them way too much benefit of the doubt.
It's not an excuse. I'm just saying, sometimes they don't always get the right people. The right people's eyes in front of a plan to do this type of expansion. So, there are people, I can't remember the name of the account on Twitter, but there are people that are actually monitoring this stuff. So some of them are bikers, obviously, because they're the ones that are actually having to experience the new lanes and see if they're actually working as intended.
But they just want more lanes. And let's keep in mind, bike lanes, I think, were introduced during Emmanuel's administration, or was it at the end of Daley's? I want to say it was Rahm's. So we've had at least almost 8 years here between Rahm's second term and Lori's first for the integration of bike lanes, which first congested downtown. Now it's spreading all across the city without any consideration of sidewalks that are pretty much unused in non-retail areas, especially along long stretches of road. I've mentioned Pulaski by the cemeteries where there's bike lanes now. Elston, where it's like car dealerships and nobody's walking along the sidewalks to go to a retail storefront, to go to a car dealership. There's parking lots. I know I sound like a grumpy old man, but it's congesting things more.
You're right. It's causing some headaches in places where it's probably not properly being applied, or they haven't exactly studied the traffic patterns during rush hour, which is, that should have been the first thing they did, was figure out where are the bottlenecks going to be. Where are we going to have problems with putting a certain number of bike lanes in a certain area where there isn't a whole lot of road space. And so maybe it doesn't make sense to have bike lanes in every single road.
I also think, sadly, and I don't want to broad stroke, I do think there's a sense of biker entitlement too, though, because let me share one other experience I had last week, actually. So I'm coming home, and around my neighborhood, it's like one-way streets each direction. So I invariably have to go through an alley to get to my garage, and I got to cross a one-way street. So I come to the end of the alley at the intersection before the alley behind my building starts, right? So traffic is coming from, as I'm facing out of the alley, traffic is coming in this direction, right? So I stopped, I looked, I saw there was a car way at the end of the road there, coming this way, right? So as I saw him down the road, I knew that I had some time to get across the street. So as I looked forward and accelerated, now we're talking about from a stop to accelerating to about 5-10 miles an hour to get across the intersection, a bicyclist comes this way. Didn't look to the alley where I was starting to creep out of and accelerating. I hit the brakes, didn't hit him, But he wiped out and he got up and he was like, he was alternating between it was his fault and I was going too fast. And I said, dude, I was at a dead stop in the alley. You were going like the wrong way on a one-way street while I was navigating to make sure there was no traffic so I could cross properly. And it was a as pleasant an exchange as it could be. I was concerned because I thought the guy hurt himself, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm looking the direction of traffic. You're going towards traffic on a one-way street. You see the nose of anybody passing an alley, whether you're walking or riding a bike, needs to slow down and always assume someone's coming out of an alley, even if they're stopped. So, but the reason I tell this story is that he kind of had a little bit of an attitude. And I was not driving through the alley without stopping and like zooming across the intersection. It's like I was just beginning to accelerate and he didn't look. And it just struck me as he's like, you were going too fast. I'm just like, no, I just the entitlement is like it's my fault.
Well, there's no limit to a-holes in Chicago being, a four-wheel or a two-wheel.
Absolutely. I agree.
So, I mean, at this point, we just have to hope that more bicyclists are not like this guy. But that entitlement, I think, carries over to the discussions we always have about the proliferation of bike lanes congesting traffic. Because remember, they want the bike lanes, but they don't want to follow the rules of the road. They don't want to stop at signs. They don't want to stop at lights. Everybody's supposed to. Basically, they've got an entitlement that literally goes beyond what us logically being more concerned about pedestrians, because at least pedestrians aren't walking really fast as opposed to a biker that can like shoot right out in front of us the way this kid did. So yeah, well, there's going to have to be some kind of like just general public adjustment to interacting with whether you're a biker or whether you're a driver or a pedestrian, just in being aware of your surroundings, being more considerate of the possibility that you might be accidentally cutting somebody off. So check your mirrors before you turn. Everybody seems to be in a real hurry these days, and I understand it, if you're late for work or whatever, that, you might be.
Or traffic is congested because of all the lanes shutting down.
Well, I mean, traffic gets congested regardless of bike lanes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is just another variable, in my opinion. And unfortunately, it's just one that happens to be peeking its head out a lot more often than we'd like. I'm just looking at the Twitter search for Chicago bike lanes, and it looks like somebody on a motorized bike got killed last night.
I did see that. I have been seeing that happening a lot.
We got to be careful. We have to, keep our eyes open. If you're biking, be considerate of the drivers too. Drivers, keep an eye out for the bikers. You don't know what kind of speed they're in. You don't know how well their brakes are working. You don't know how well your brakes are working.
And where my fault was, Ed. I normally do honk before exiting an alley, and I didn't in this case because it was my neighborhood. I'm just like, I just didn't think. So that was on me. But I think that's probably another ounce of safety that drivers can also engage in anytime they're coming out of an alley or going into traffic. Is honk your horn when you're entering traffic to warn any bikers that might be coming towards you.
Yeah, and I understand, there are different types of bike lanes that we have in the city. Some of them are just painted there. Painted instructions to tell you where you're supposed to be. Some of them actually have concrete barriers now. And I think that's probably a good thing in general, although, it really depends on how well the traffic is flowing in the area where those exist. And you're still going to have issues at the intersection, so just be careful out there.
Absolutely.
Like they used to say on one of them old Chicago cop shows, just be careful out there.
And quoting Pete Venkman from Ghostbusters, important safety tip. Thank you, Egon.
Yeah, don't cross the streams.
So I want to, at the top of the show, remind everybody we're having a little impromptu get-together tomorrow night.
Oh, we're still doing that?
Who said it might be called off?
I don't know.
Oh, no. I've been looking forward to this. I had Kid announce it on Hard Lunch Night. So tomorrow night.
Let's do it then.
8 p.m. the Lincoln Tap Room over at 3010 North Lincoln Avenue. We'll be there at 8. Kira, Ed, and I, just to like have a couple drinks and hang out and meet people and just socialize and try to have a nicer time than we do bitching about things here on Tuesdays and Fridays.
Yeah, don't get crazy. We're just hanging out. You know?
Yeah, very impromptu, very informal, very casual.
You want to, I mean, hang out, have a chat, you know, learn that I don't always use this weird Chicago accent when I'm talking.
All right,
Maybe
so
I'll talk your ear off about pizza for like an hour.
Be prepared, people. He will. No joke.
Maybe
all right.
We should order some.
Well, no, we did talk about that when I was filling in for Kira on Tuesday. Art was in the chat, who will be joining us also. I'm glad Art's coming out. I'm going to see if I can invite a few other friends. And Chicago's Pizza is, I think, about 2 blocks down, and they will deliver to Lincoln Tap Room. I've actually done that. So we can order out for pizza and have drinks there at their lovely booths. Their lovely little, I just love that place. It's got such old-style ambiance in there.
That just sounds like a delightful Saturday evening, Jerry.
I need one amongst friends. So as we are priming up the proverbial mayoral clown car this week.
Ah, yes, the mayoral clown car. Growing always the same size car, but growing ever more full with candidates inside.
Absolutely. So this news got released this week.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Chuy Garcia, who sounds like it's short for Chewbacca, but he spells Chewy differently than... That's a good impression, Ed. Now, if you just grow hair on the rest of your face to go along with your beard, the effect will be complete. So, yeah, well, he hasn't entered yet, but he is considering entering the race. Now, this carries considerable weight because people know who he is. And he once served on city. Right, and he's in Congress now. So this comes to us from Politico. Now, he was also in town this week. Let me go to the other article. This is what he was here for originally. He came to endorse the challenger to Ed Burke in the 2023 Chicago City Council election. I'm really hoping that Burke gets carted off in irons before he can run. But actually, let's run the video here from MSN as soon as this ad goes away. Oh, come on. It was queued up, everybody, and of course we saw what happened. All right, here we go. Run, damn it, run.
Chuy Garcia is still mulling a run for mayor, but as he does so, he is handing out endorsements this morning, jumping into the 14th ward race, where Alderman Ed Burke could be more vulnerable this election than he was 4 years ago. Congressman Jesus Chuy Garcia with a hug and an endorsement for Helu Gutierrez today, a mother of 2 who works for Cook County Commissioner Alma Anaya. Garcia hoping 14th ward voters will embrace his candidate and reject incumbent Ed Burke, who served on the city council since 1969, but is awaiting trial on federal racketeering charges.
There is an opportunity to get rid of any cloud that may hang over the 14th ward.
I think our DC needs to be Latino, needs to be a voice, an immigrant voice that understands the struggle on a daily basis of our residents.
The 14th ward is now overwhelmingly Hispanic, and Garcia, along with other elected leaders, believe the chances are good this time around to elect a Latina. In 2019, Burke avoided a runoff by winning 54% of the vote.
Look at the guy. He dresses like a fucking gangster because that's what he is.
Yeah,
he is a gangster. He doesn't even hide it.
But the remap removed.
Jerry, I still don't understand how he won his reelection.
People don't come out to vote, Ed. I think that's going to be the biggest obstacle and the biggest fear I have this election cycle is Last elections numbers were what, 30% turnout
They were not
out of 100%. So when you consider that Lightfoot got more than 50% of the vote of a 30% turnout, that's what, like 15 to 20% of Chicago voted for her.
Yeah,
out of 100% population.
I mean, it really shows you how the lack of inspiration for people to come out and vote because they don't see any value in it. But maybe this time around it'll be different. We got a lot of new people running who actually might even try to do something.
The slate is getting wiped clean by all the rats fleeing the sinking ship. I don't know. I mean,
13, 14 aldermen that are leaving now.
A lot of opportunities, I hope, for good people to get in there.
Favor based on white voters. We reached out to Burke's office for comment, but got no response. As for Garcia's own future, he says he is still considering a run for mayor, but complicating that decision, the possibility that Cook County Commissioner Brandon Johnson could get into the race and, as a former member of the Chicago Teachers Union, draw that all-important CTU endorsement. The CTU supported Garcia in his 2015 run for mayor.
Rank and file teachers, people in leadership positions there, and in other labor unions are the consultation that I am engaged with.
Garcia says another factor in his decision is that no polling has been done to show how he might fare in the mayor's race. But he says if he is going to get in, he knows he needs to make a decision soon.
That's for sure, because he's got to get petitions going.
Yeah. I don't predict him actually deciding to run this time, but you never know. But he'll probably get pressured from CTU to not run, since they already picked that other guy that they want to go with. But
well, I don't know that they formally endorsed him. He does have an affiliation.
You don't think they endorsed?
They haven't officially endorsed him yet. I know that he has an affiliation with them, from my understanding, but I haven't heard. I know he was at that meeting where the teachers union president said she wasn't running, and everybody's assuming he's going to get their endorsement. But let's hear what Politico has to say, because this was from Politico's articles 2 days ago. As the video said, he's acknowledged he's weighing a run for mayor that would upend the already crowded race to unseat incumbent Lori Lightfoot. I don't want to pressure myself, Garcia said at a downtown news conference where he presented a slate of candidates he's supporting in the spring municipal elections. Block Club Chicago was the first to report on the event. I want to be as deliberate and as understanding of all the issues that are facing the city of Chicago, Garcia said, pointing specifically to public safety. 3 Chicago council members, including Alderman Ray Lopez, are already in this race. State Representative Cam Buckner, former Chicago Public Schools Chief Paul Vallis are in as well. Former Democratic Governor Pat Quinn is also mulling around. We can't forget about Governor Pat. So of these names, Vallis is known, Garcia is known, Quinn is known, Cam Buckner not as much. And then, of course, everybody knows Willie Wilson. There's some peripheral, there's some peripheral name recognition with J Mall. Although J Mall's really got to focus up on the north side here. I think that's his Achilles heel.
Yeah, it's gonna be an uphill battle unless he really gets some more recognition on the standard news channels.
Yeah.
The local ones, anyway.
Well, he had a free car. God bless J Mall. He had 100 free car washes on Sunday. They had a free car wash. I think it was like 100 till like 8 at night. So I guess they had like more than 100 people come out for free car washes. Taking a little note from Willie Wilson's playbook, getting people's attention, doing good deeds. I don't know. I mean, I think that was nice that they did that. But it's not the $1 million in gas that Willie Wilson could give out.
Yeah, but Willie's not going to do that once he's mayor. He'll be in, and he'll be, maybe he'll do a couple giveaways just like as like one-off. But then, if he were running as mayor, I don't know how he would run. I kind of feel like he'd be very hands-off for a lot of stuff, which is probably not what we need.
I think you're right. As much as I appreciate his giving and goodwill towards helping people with his giveaways, I I don't know. He's a mixed bag. We reported on him and his meeting with, I think it was it the press club a couple months ago? He was over in, I don't know if it was the press club.
I don't remember who he was meeting with, but he had
a lot of business people, though. And a lot of what he was talking, I mean, half the stuff he was talking about I agreed with. Half the stuff he was talking about I thought was just more bad ideas waiting to explode.
He's got the businessman's perspective, which I don't know if that's exactly what we need.
No.
Running the city of Chicago, because Chicago is not a business.
Right. It's not government's not a for-profit enterprise, as these businessmen come in and think they can balance their own budgets. I'm sorry, but a city government municipal budget is not for-profit that you can balance it the same way.
Right. And you have to shuffle your priorities in a different way. You can't just be all about, well, this is bringing in revenue, so let's focus all our resources on this.
Yeah.
You got to support the people in the city.
Though recent polling numbers suggest Lightfoot, who was saddled with managing a pandemic and a wave of crime that's slowly getting under control, I think Politico is being way too kind. Is seen as vulnerable. She continues to outpace her declared opponents in fundraising with more than $2.7 million in the bank. Garcia's entry would challenge that. Lightfoot, who campaigned 4 years ago as a government reformer and is anything but, says she needs another term to finish what she started. Yeah, oh yeah, that's exactly what we need, is another term for her to finish what she started.
Collect your torches and go!
What is she trying to finish?
She wants how many? Well, let's go over her list of promises, which that she's broken and which she hasn't broken yet, because she still needs to break the rest of the promises that she made, is what I think is at issue here.
Okay, let's go over those promises, Jerry. First off, I promised I would be the most progressive candidate mayor ever, and I totally nailed that.
This is such a crock of shit.
And second, I wanted beans. Shiny metal beans. As many as possible. And, well, we still have the one in Millennium Park, and I'm working on number 2. And honestly, that is part of what I need to finish. And finally, I also have to make sure that we keep the Chicago Bears in... Wait, they just did a presentation where? Gotta go.
Blowjob! Blowjob! Blowjob!
That was all nicely timed.
What a fucking bitch, am I right?
I love it when we're firing on all cylinders.
I can't scroll down fast enough to hit the follow-up clip.
All right, so back to the article. She wants to finish what she started. Activists say she hasn't done enough to address the ethics and transparency issues she campaigned on. And though Chicago mayors over the years have worn their surly image as a badge of honor, Lightfoot's blunt manner and style still draws criticism. I think that's being kind. They should have said Lightfoot's thin skin still draws criticism. Others blame her, and we're going to get into one of those stories in a bit also. Others blame her administration for a wave of crime that's escalated during the pandemic, much the way it did across the country. Overall shootings are down compared to a year ago, but the issue remains a concern to residents. Yeah, right. I was going through Block Club Chicago today to cultivate and curate stories. Every other updated latest news story was a shooting. It's just, I can't report on them anymore. There are too many people to honor that it would be just soul crushing. I couldn't keep up with reporting all of them, because they all merit and deserve equal coverage. But we shouldn't have to report on so many shootings and killings all the time. It's
getting beyond.
It's soul crushing, man.
It is.
Garcia, go ahead.
Just a few more things.
Sure.
So she has things she wants to finish, such as the Triple Bean Casino.
That's a lot of money.
That's what she thinks she's going to generate.
Yeah, and of course she wants to, say, gentlemen, start your engines.
Oh, I don't have any NASCAR clips in here. Damn. Oh, wait, but you know what I do have?
The last thing that we need is to give people who are breaking the law by speeding license to go faster, which is what the Beale ordinance would do. And faster, notably, around parks and schools. The revenue is real, but fundamentally the easiest thing for people to do is don't speed in the first place. Yeah, no one likes speed cameras, I get it. But this is life or death that we're talking about here.
What a fucking bitch, am I right?
I beg your pardon. What did you say?
Yeah, you couldn't. That's all right. We know that clip. We don't have to screw. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, it's speed related, right? She wants NASCAR. She's pushing the speed cameras while she's breaking the law. Garcia would be a formidable opponent. In 2015, he forced then Mayor Rahm Emanuel into a runoff, losing with 44.5% of the vote to Emanuel's 55.5%. I have some interesting insight on what happened then, too, because I think I've mentioned in the past, I'm not going to name the candidates, but I did work on the campaigns for two mayoral candidates at different points as a media producer. The second mayoral candidate, who was everybody was anti-Rahm. But when Chuy stepped up, this candidate didn't give Chuy his endorsement as we all thought he should have, because Rahm promised to pay his outstanding campaign debt. Rahm never did. So Rahm, no, of course not. He got a freebie from this other candidate, which I'm just like, dude, how could you not see that coming? Come on. You've basically been and I like the guy too. I don't want to identify him because I think his heart was in the right place. But I'm like, when push came to shove at the end, he had extraordinary campaign debt, and Rahm basically bought his endorsement and welched on, at least last I heard. And I think there was a good year there afterwards that everybody who'd been working on that campaign were just like, yeah, no, we don't think Rahm took care, because people were still waiting to get paid. And eventually we were.
I made that promise, and I was crossing my fingers, and that's hard to do when you only got 9.
Ed, you win the internet tonight.
I take responsibility for what happened because it happened on my watch.
Can't get enough of that one.
I'm okay. Can't catch me, suckers.
So Garcia once served on the city council and as a Cook County commissioner earlier in his career before running for. So back to my point about the mayoral candidates. Had they gotten behind Chuy, he may have unseated Rahm, but Rahm was really working shit behind the scenes to bamboozle people.
Does that?
Of course he does. Of course he
did
does.
That when he was chief of staff for a former president.
Thief of staff, I think is what you would say.
Yeah,
Thief of staff.
He was definitely involved in making sure we did not get a public option, which would have transitioned to a national health care system that we also do not currently have.
That's where you should, if you weren't going to give everybody Medicare for all, you should have started at Medicare for all to negotiate to a public option. Instead, they went to a big sloppy wet kiss on the asses of all the insurance companies who helped draft the policy.
Everything
what they did.
Every time they try to argue for a position, they started to compromise and then work their way backwards, which is always dumb. It lets you know that they're not serious.
Let's jump into. I didn't get a chance to greet our viewers in the live chat tonight. Of course, we've got Kathy Powers. Where's Willie?
This guy?
There he is. Gene,
he hasn't done a giveaway in a while, so it's got to be this guy.
Yeah. I think the job of being mayor of Chicago would be an awful job. I don't know, Gene. I think it would be an awful job if you had to continue to kiss up and enable the corruption that is rampant there, like a backed up, overflowing toilet. But if you were a real reformer and had the love of the people and support of the people behind, just think of how much you could do and how many people's lives you could change if you were able to reject the status quo corruption. But because look, this is an issue with Congress. It's an issue with our leaders, our presidents. Citizens are not represented. Corporations and businesses. This is what's represented. It's the corporate states of America, not the United States of America. And I think anybody that runs for mayor of the city of Chicago, unfortunately, has got to bend over for all of the business interests that are going to give them these big war chests like Lightfoot has. Now, going back to Garcia, I never really disliked him. I was kind of neutral on him. I thought he was a decent candidate. I really haven't weighed any major scandals or corruption in his past. I think he's a more honest player.
Yeah, but he's still part of the machine.
That's the problem, man. That's what I was going to get to. Yeah.
And although, because when he ran against Rahm, didn't he used to work for Rahm at one point? So I was like, okay, either he's looking to, trying to shift gears and shake things up a little bit inside the machine, but it just didn't feel like when he was running against Rahm, he was going full bore.
I like what Warren has to say. Chuy looks like if Freddie Mercury and Dan Rather had a baby. And Chuy's a dancing-looking gentleman for his age. He's he keeps himself in shape. He's a fairly neutral type of personality.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how Jesus gets turned into Chuy. That's just
I don't know. I don't know if the nickname is derived specifically from Jesus.
Chuy is a nickname for Jesus.
I didn't know that. Anybody in the live chat know how that?
The morphing from Jesus to Chuy is just an interesting. Maybe it's an anglicized spelling, and that's where it gets kind of confusing.
Could be. I'm looking at the live chat. I'm enjoying this. Thank you, Warren. We do our best. There's an unidentified Facebook user. Not sure who that is. You guys are nuts. If you're able to,
unidentified Facebook user,
I take that as a compliment.
You know what I'm really feeling that we're missing out on is that tomorrow night they don't have karaoke. Because that would be something we got to do. At least if we can't get that to happen tomorrow night, and it probably won't. We definitely got to plan for that in the future, because who doesn't want to see something like this?
Everybody in the whole jail block, the jail has arrived.
I have a video on my computer here that somebody took of me singing Sweet Home Chicago after, I think, 5 or 6 Jack and Cokes, and I will never play it. But if we do find a karaoke place in the future to get together at, you just may luck out into seeing me do it live when I have absolutely no good sense to sit down and shut up.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they still do. There's that place called Peace Pizza used to do live band karaoke. They had a live band that knew how to play a whole bunch of songs, and you get up there and they have the karaoke readers.
Oh, that's cool.
Have the words, and they would play live while you were singing, which is really cool. It's like you're auditioning with a band.
That is awesome. That would be fun. It's got much bigger production values.
Yeah.
All right, so wrapping up this, yes, we know
Chuy's thinking about it.
He's thinking about it, yeah. For those who don't remember his record, he once served on city council and as Cook County commissioner early in his career before running for Congress. He's become a force in the Progressive Caucus.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're happy about how that word is mutated. Working closely
Yeah.
with newer lawmakers, including Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, while continuing to build coalitions in Chicago. Hey, did you see her GQ cover?
I'm like, okay, who's this for?
Yeah. Hey, peasants, look at me. I'm on the cover of GQ. Woohoo!
It's like, look, I understand there are people who are, working class, and then some who consider themselves middle class who might read that magazine, but she's not doing it for you.
No.
She's doing it for the people who are well off or doing fine, to reassure them that she's not some crazy commie who's going to take away all your stuff, which is not what she is at all anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, and, even when she campaigned as a candidate, it was all about basically giving people, health care and living wage and the basic things that most people used to have back when a living wage actually let you make a living for yourself and have a roof over your head and be able to come home and not have to work, an extra job and wonder how you're going to make ends meet at the end of the day. It's like, people demonizing you for wanting to just be able to do, a normal day's work and come home and be able to have a decent life. Without getting too far off the rails here, we talk about this on a local level, all the things we want to do, in the Chicago Corner Manifesto, all the things we want our next mayor to be able to do for the citizens. And we're not asking for the moon. We just want to live decent lives. There are people who think that not everybody deserves to do that.
Yeah. The thing about her, though, and a lot of these politicians, they used to say that Washington is Hollywood for ugly people, right? And Hollywood, the ugly narcissists go to Washington, the beautiful narcissists go to become celebrities and performers and actors and actresses. So it's just interesting to me how many of the ugly people in Washington, although AOC, she's not an unattractive person. I just mean, I think in their essence, what they want to do and how they end up serving themselves instead of the people that they campaigned and asked support from. A lot of our politicians now have got a good grift going on. There's no reason for her to be on the cover of GQ magazine and start complaining about, I don't know if I'm going to live through September. Really? You've got bodyguards, ma'am. Stop crying for yourself when there are people sleeping under bridges right now. There are people without health care. There are people who need your help instead of you deciding you're just going to bend a knee to Ice Cream Pelosi all the time because of how it helps you, how it serves you and your AOC brand. I mean, come on. The branding alone is just it just seems so utterly, preconceived. That's not really the word I'm looking for, but
it's disingenuous.
It's disingenuous. Yeah.
Miguel brings up a great point. We're not asking for the moon. Although actually, some of us who are holding stock in AMC, we might be asking for a little bit of that moon.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, let me get ourselves transitioned into our next story here.
Now, AMC, not AOC.
We want our AMC, which went up again today. You know what, Ed? I've stopped looking.
We actually got positive movement today, although the reality is that those numbers that you see in the stock market at daily are really BS.
They're going to go down again. Like like next week, they're going to drop again because of the way that they're manipulating things.
Yeah, it's a continuing process of a lot of stuff going on in the dark pools that doesn't even see the light of the regular exchange, and the numbers that you see affecting the reading, the minute candles that you see on those stock updates. And so anytime you see something where you've seen a bunch of red, it's short sellers.
Those numbers aren't real either. The numbers you're seeing today are from probably 2 weeks ago, because they're
not even, no.
Yeah, probably longer. So when we buy stock today and we see the volume, it's not raising the price, because the market makers who are doing the payment for order flow, they're processing the orders, the citadels, instead of the stock exchange. They're putting it into a dark pool, which takes 2 weeks to clear, which means you're not seeing the real price go up. So they're basically trying to spread this sense that, this is a Hail Mary play. It's not really going to go up, when it is going up. They're just manipulating what the real action is. It's a rigged deal.
Yeah. And the other part of the manipulation is what they do is that they release a number of the short sales to drive the price down. And then they start slowly covering some of the older short positions to make the stock go back up. And then
so they don't lose their assets.
And so you see, you'll see these weird patterns on AMC and some of the other stocks that, like meme stocks, so-called meme stocks, where it looks like a barcode. And it's just up and down all day. And you're like, that's not natural movement in the stock market.
The patterns are the same. Last year, well, I haven't really cross-referenced it lately, but it used to be the price action each day before they split the stocks between AMC and GME were identical. The patterns daily were the same, which meant you can sense that they were like, what do they have?
Applying the same algorithm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to like basically control it to the way that they want it to run.
Yeah, all they're doing is basically running a computer program that does automatic
high frequency trading machines. That's what they are, the high frequency trading machines.
And it just it's just reporting these fake prices, and then you're basically, if the price is low and you want to buy stock and your exchange has them available, it's a good time to stock up on them while it's low, but that can't last forever. I read a story that I think it was the European part of Citadel is going through bankruptcy right now. So
well, it's voluntary. What they're doing is they're closing to open in another European marketplace. But we have gotten directives, though, Ed, from the Queen to please change the subject.
Oh,
by the way.
Breaking news.
Yes. By the way,
changing the subject.
Yes, the UK had their queen. We still have ours, Kathy Powers, in the live chat.
Yes, all hail Queen Powers.
Okay. Moving into our next story.
Hopefully
we always hear about
imperialist.
Huh?
Hopefully, she will not be imperialist.
True.
We don't like the imperialist. We prefer real butter.
So we've all heard the expression fake news, and sadly in corporate mainstream cable media that is the case. I do think that most of our newspapers, at least locally, have not completely succumbed to fake news entirely, because then that would constitute, what is it, libel or slander? Libel, if it's printed. However, However, this story came out in the Tribune today. Taking aim at printed, they look like newspapers, but they're not. They're spreading racism and libel and smearing people and misrepresenting facts, all under the guise of looking like an actual legitimate newspaper. So this comes to us from
a hell of a feat, because a lot of the other news sources are kind of
Well, this has got to be expensive too, to do all this printing and send these things out. Yeah. So this comes from Rick Pearson at the Tribune. Governor J.B. Pritzker says racism is behind political mailings disguised as newspapers that attack new criminal justice laws. A series of political mailings that resemble newspapers and excoriate Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker over crime issues has prompted the governor to claim they're the work of a racist political consultant and right-wing radio show host Dan Proft. Are you surprised?
No.
You know, we complain about Democrats because we want to hold them accountable because they're practically the closest thing we might have to actual forward thinking, but leave it to the right-wing radio show hosts to just still wallow in the mud. But at least we know what they're doing and see them for what they are. So right-wing radio show host Dan Proft, who is also financially supporting Republican governor candidate Darren Bailey, who's doing a fine job winning Chicago's votes by calling us, what did he call us last time? A garbage pit or something?
It was the hellhole.
A hellhole. Right. So we got Republican gubernatorial candidate Darren Bailey being supported by right-wing radio show host Dan Proft, who is financially supporting Bailey. And these newspapers are going out, I guess, I don't know if they're being financed by Proft. Let's read on. The mailings tailored to specific areas and sent to voters throughout Chicagoland under such labels as Chicago City Wire. So if you guys get these papers, you know that they're birdcage liner, or you might want to, use them.
You use them to light your chimney starters for barbecue, so that's what you use them for.
Much kinder than what I was going to say if you ran out of toilet paper.
It's a little too rough for toilet paper, but definitely good for kindling.
Did it send a message?
So would the kindling.
That's true. Yes, you're right, Ed. It would send a message with the kindling.
Light your torches and go!
All right. The mailings, tailored to specific areas and sent to voters throughout Chicagoland under such labels as Chicago City Wire, DuPage Policy Journal, and Will County Gazette, are filled with purported news articles containing misinformation about the effects of criminal justice reforms enacted under Pritzker. The mailings
that thing. Okay.
Yeah, the mailings contend the new law will free dangerous criminal suspects from jail and unleash them into the suburbs. Read, white communities. Were you able to hear me on that end?
I heard you, I think.
Okay. White communities. A recent two-page spread.
Welcome to Chicago Corner ASMR.
A recent two-page spread features photos of predominantly black men. The mailer states are suspects in violent crimes who could be released from local county jails and into neighborhoods under the state's no cash bail policy that goes into effect January 1st. Under the new law, judges are to consider pre-trial release on an individual basis, including those charged with murder, based on whether the suspects are a risk to the community or a flight risk.
Okay, so a judge has to figure that out. So,
and you know what? If a judge fucks up, Ed, guess what? You can vote them out and vote against them. Keep a check card.
It's
the judge's faults, right? It's not. I mean, this is meant to protect nonviolent offenders that can't make cash bail, that are no threat. So if you've got a judge who's reviewing it, who's ultimately the last word, and that dickhole decides that they're going to let somebody out who actually is a danger, you make sure that's our responsibility to keep track of who those judges are. Share that information with everybody else, because you can basically take a list of the bad judges in when you vote and make sure and research the better judges. There are websites before the election, and I think Kira shared one that I usually go to. Girl, you go. I forgot the name of the website.
Girl, I guess. Yeah. And they go through the more left-leaning candidates and with the more progressive, forward-thinking policies, so that you can basically get all the information on all the candidates as honestly as possible. Now, last election, I wasn't too impressed with the quote-unquote left candidates. They just seemed, it just seemed like, there was no choice. But in the case of the judges,
there is a good opportunity at Girl, I Guess, to look at a judge's record and see if they're just there to like serve themselves and get their pensions, or if they're actually presiding correctly on these types of cases. Kathy says it's tough to get that judge info. Lawyers don't squeal on lawyers. Yeah, but Kathy, that website I just mentioned, Girl, I Guess, they basically go through the public record and compile a snapshot of a judge's ruling style, decision style, to see if they are idiots or actually doing their jobs competently. So the mailings state the new law mandates murder suspects awaiting trial be released from jail, and gave a list of charges that it said were non-detainable, and it's a lie. So this is a messaging that's coming from a racist political consultant who used to associate himself with Illinois, now lives in Florida, and he's sending messages that are, if you look at what he's printed, it's clearly all about the idea that, again, what he's printing, that black people are threatening your way of life. That's essentially what he's putting in these publications, Pritzker said, of Proft at an unrelated event in South Suburban Harvey. It's a scare tactic. It's meant to have people show concern for their safety, and the truth of the matter is that what he's purveying here is complete hogwash. That's being kind, Governor Pritzker. Let's just call it for what it is. Bullshit! What is our friend Al Pacino call it?
This is such a crock of shit.
I'm probably being polite when I say that, the governor said. It's disgusting. It's a terrible thing to do, he said, and frankly, he's doing it on behalf of Darren Bailey. And that says as much you need to know about Darren Bailey.
Now, we can be impolite, too. Hang on a sec.
Illinois Nazis. I hate Illinois Nazis.
Well, although I guess they're formerly Illinois Nazis and now
yeah. I got to get some more Blues Brothers clips in the queue. In an email reacting to Pritzker calling him racist, Proft said it's like being called ugly by a frog. Wow. Wow. That's really grown up.
Frogs are beautiful.
They are.
I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Princesses kiss frogs. Although, as I'm looking at this picture of, look, it's irrelevant. Proft's point is irrelevant. Okay. In a Twitter post, Proft said Pritzker infuses race into every single policy debate. He never deals on the merits, particularly on public safety. He signed the state's death warrant with his no-cash bail law. He challenged Pritzker to name one specific item in the newspaper you exoriate that's untrue or inaccurate. But in statements, supporters of the Safety Act and the Pretrial Fairness Act, as the cashless bail portion is known, noted that any of those pictured as potential dangers to local communities could be released now if they posted bail. In the current system, the amount of money someone has determines whether they can be released, not whether they pose a threat to someone else or are likely to free prosecution. The Illinois Network for Pretrial Justice said in a statement. And again, a judge determines if there is a risk of a violent offender committing
regardless
more
of bail.
Right, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean,
Still,
they're just trying to scare you.
Yeah.
It's scare tactics.
So he can win the election because he's a racist. Still, Proft's use of the mailings was backed by Bailey, the downstate farmer and state senator from Xenia, who's made crime the top issue in his Republican campaign for governor. They all do. It's all crime. Throw more money at the cops. Let's keep doing the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, expecting different results by throwing more money at it because it's crime. Not investing in communities.
Yeah, you would think with all the money they keep throwing at the police departments that crime would not exist anymore. I don't know what's going on, Jerry. Maybe we should throw more money at it.
That's a lot of money.
These newspapers that are circulating the state that are full of facts and truth, and Governor Pritzker has the gall to call it a lie to keep the people uninformed. Bailey said in an interview on Props, Chicago was, you know what? We know what's going on. Fake news. I covered it. Look, you get this shit, burn it. Use it to wipe your shoes. Use it to line your burn cages. I have 3 cat boxes in my apartment. Maybe I should start lining those with this in case I get get any of these
them to fill the potholes.
Yes.
By the way, you know who else is on my shit list for potholes is JB Pritzker.
How so?
The Kennedy inbound and outbound it's a concrete expressway, is riddled with cracks and potholes and giant chasms where people's tires and suspensions are getting destroyed. This is getting out of hand.
I don't disagree. Yeah. All right,
I would play a ranting and raving video clip, but I don't even think there's one even appropriate at this point. I
think I know which one when you want to talk about the potholes.
I'm just so mad about the potholes.
I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!"
Yeah.
I think that's the sentiment that Ed wanted to express.
Patch the potholes.
How did my color scheme change? That's a Joker color scheme.
That's fine.
No. I don't like the green. I like the blue. There we go. All right. Going into our next story. I was intrigued by this story because I like the implications. However, there does seem to be some controversy regarding the implementation of this plan. Now, I've driven across Indiana and seen wind farms. You've got open, barren plains, open, barren spaces, harvesting power through wind. Wind collection it's a smart idea.
Yeah.
I have heard people who are against it who I saw a funny video it wasn't funny. There's a video on Twitter where there was a woman who was carrying this giant, beautiful bird that was dead with one of these wind farm blades in the behind her, saying that these wind farm propellers are dangerous to birds. Okay. Okay. I sympathize with the bird. I'm sure that this woman probably eats chicken. And when I saw all of the other responses in this Twitter thread that were extolling the virtues of, this is why we need to keep our pipelines in place. Yeah. So they can burst and poison and pollute the water supply, right? Instead of
those are just the frack holes it's the frack holes who are putting in fake posts against clean energy alternatives to their fracking.
Right. So while we see this in Indiana, they are being proposed here. Now, this comes from Brett Chase at the Sun-Times. Lake Michigan wind farm touted for southeast side. Residents have a number of concerns and questions about local job creation and other potential benefits to the community. I don't think there are any downsides I think that the benefits far outweigh the downsides. That's my uninformed opinion, just like as a layperson, like looking at how it works elsewhere. Seems to work. Okay. So a pair of state lawmakers touted a plan to create Chicago's first offshore wind farm on the southeast side at a meeting Wednesday night, while residents peppered them with questions about how such a project benefits the community. How wouldn't it benefit the community? It's clean. It's going to create jobs. It's literally going to create money out of thin air, in the sense that it's using wind, to create energy that can help sustain, bring energy costs down, and it's safer and it's cleaner. Senator Robert Peters, who was joined by Representative Marcus Evans at the South Chicago Branch Library, said he's pushing the idea for the wind farm because he believes it will help transform the economy of the southeast side, which is home to many polluting manufacturers, and we've reported on lots of them. Too bad Kit's not here. And has never rebounded from the loss of steel jobs 4 decades ago. The plan, he said, would create hundreds of jobs and help the South Side reap the rewards of clean energy. This is a unique opportunity to be at the forefront of something, Peters said. He dubbed the effort a proposal contained in the bill in the Illinois General Assembly as the Rust Belt to Green Belt. Plans for a similar Ohio project are in the works for offshore Lake Erie. The legislation doesn't specifically guarantee a wind farm on the southeast side. Rather, it sets up a process that allows the state to seek federal dollars so it can provide tax credits to private developers who would bid on a project. Look, if they're going to bid on the project, I'd rather it be something that's going to produce clean energy than, allow more recycling plants and polluters to set up shop along the south shore of Illinois and the north shore of Indiana. Peters and Evans, both representing Chicago's South Side, said they hope the windmills can be placed near the Illinois International Port District at East 95th Street. At a nearby area, possibly the former U.S. Steel South Work site, workers would build the concrete foundations for the wind turbines, they said. Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, that would create even more jobs because the steelworks, where the steelworks used to be, they need jobs over there. This would definitely be a good thing.
I just saw a comment in the chat. Kit is here. I think I forgot to send the show link so that Kit could come in tonight. So Kit, if you're out there, I'm going to send the StreamYard link to you through Slack. So stand by for that. I'm opening it on this end. While Slack is opening, Kit, stand by, and I'll get you in here with that link.
So while we're waiting for that, I can just say that, if they're to set up a process for the state to seek federal dollars is always a good thing, because people need to understand. They need to continue to understand that federal dollars are not funded by your taxes. Okay? If Congress wants to appropriate funds to pay for something, they just pass a bill. The money is created, and then they can use it to spend on that project. So you don't have to worry about my tax dollars paying for this, because they aren't.
Kit, I just sent you the link if you want to pop in. We're here. Let's go to the live chat, too.
We'll be here a while.
Yeah. Warren says, my ass is a wind farm on Taco Tuesdays.
You know what I want to...
Harnessing the power of methane.
Yes. And you know what I want to know about wind farms is, what do they feed those winds?
So Gene makes another good point to what I was laughing at on Twitter. Birds are killed more by windows and cats. Windows up to 1 billion and cats 1.3 to 4.0 billion. Gene, thank you for getting the exact stats on that. Let's see who else. Yeah, Kathy, we saw the kid is here. What else is in the chat here? I like this idea too. Wind turbines should be publicly owned.
Yeah, well, I think most power systems should be municipal and publicly owned.
That's why they're called public utilities, but they're not really.
Yeah, I think there's a website called Democratize ComEd, where they're trying to turn ComEd into a municipal electric company, which would probably be a better thing for us. So
now,
they have to keep asking us for money all the time for their own upgrades.
So Gene shares a monkey in the wrench, a pain in the ass. Didn't Biden sign a bill saying if you spend on wind turbines that you have to open up acres for drilling oil? I don't know.
If that's the case, that's a bad bill.
Right. Now, JR shares, I would disagree on some of it. There are problems with most clean types of windmills. They have caught on fire, fallen from storms.
Okay.
Land waste, dangerous and difficult to maintain. All right, but all that said, JR, do you see in the photo where those wind farms are going to be put up? Along a shoreline where it's unpopulated. So,
and just because Texas has problems maintaining their electrical systems doesn't mean that other places will.
Yeah.
You just have to have competent people who actually want those things to succeed, instead of just setting them up once, walking away and hoping they will fail so you can keep fracking.
So that they can politicize the issue and others can make tons and tons of money off fracking polluting communities, making people sick without the ramifications or accountability that's supposed to come with that we would want to have to enforce if we kept things clean and safe for people. So they say we can build them here and they can be placed elsewhere, said Peggy Salazar, a longtime community activist, who said she felt placing wind turbines was another effort to stick the southeast side with something that north side residents don't want. Hey, I wouldn't be against seeing this up along Rogers Park. Put them up here too.
Do it right. I mean,
do it right. I look, start on. I don't think that it's bad to focus on the southeast side where it would create jobs, but I think that these residents and activists are a little bit. I think their concerns are misplaced because I think that you could advocate to have these put everywhere. You can't just say, well, let's not put them in because people on the north side wouldn't want them. Hey, tell the north siders, here's an opportunity. You want your energy bills to go down? Start harvesting the wind. Salazar said,
yeah.
Okay, so Gene, where do you live? We have wind turbines here. They work really well. We don't have problems with them. I'm sure Gene will let us know where she's at. Let me continue the article, though. Yeah. Salazar said she heard a similar proposal some years ago, and at the time it was made clear to me the North Shore didn't want anything to block their view. Well, you know what? There are portions of the North Shore that are very rural. I mean, in between Highland Park and the Wisconsin border, there is a lot of lakefront land there that's unoccupied. And yeah, of course, there are rich estates and stuff, but there are as many areas that you could develop and basically tell these North Shore residents that don't want anything, hey, go pound sand. Sorry, it's a great opportunity and we need it in places. And, to that point, too, if Salazar is worried about blocking the view on the southeast side, then I think that her concerns are misplaced also. Because a lot of the southeast side is industrial land, unoccupied, especially where the steel mills used to be. So, if you're going to make this a classist issue, certainly I wouldn't want to see these going up around people's houses, right? The whole point is you keep them out in an open area like this or along a lot of the open farmland that you see when you're driving the interstates through Indiana. Gene, I'm Costa Rican. We are at 100% renewable electricity, hydro, thermal, volcano, wind, and solar.
So, we got alternatives. They will work. We just have to try them.
South Shore folks don't need to be told what they want. I'm not clear I understand what you mean, Kathy.
You mean from Salazar?
Yeah, I'm not getting the context. All of our electricity, all renewable, is owned by the people, as it should be. Samuel Corona, an organizer with the community group Alliance of the Southeast, said a wind energy developer should be required to enter into an agreement that puts in specific benefits for nearby residents, including local hiring and job training. In an interview, Corona said there should also be a program that teaches skills to high school students, and he left open the possibility of other demands based on future community input. These are all good ideas. Every development is unique. We draw on community input and build it out from there. Chris Weissman, chief executive of Boston-based Diamond Offshore Wind, said hiring goals can be written into developers' proposals. A resident of Evanston, Weissman said that he might be interested in bidding on a project if it moves forward. In an interview, Peter said the meeting Wednesday night is the beginning of what he described would be a strong community engagement process. Hey, I often share I'm sick and tired of bitching about things on this show. I thought that this was like a story that was a step in the right direction. It's a solution. Yeah. It's engaging with the community to see how everybody can benefit. And I think that ultimately this is where everybody's efforts should be focused on, the solutions to these problems. And yeah, I mean, there certainly is a little bit of what's the word, disagreement there. But I don't think the disagreements that I read about in this article in that meeting are that difficult to get past. I do think there's a lot of room for compromise and a lot of room for coming together. So,
yeah. And if windmills aren't your thing, Lake Michigan gets plenty of waves too. So wave generators, I know that those work. I've seen other countries have them.
So Kathy just clarified, we're so big on telling at-risk communities what they need. That's not popular. Okay. I'm not saying that we should be telling an at-risk community what they need. I'm saying we should tell all communities what they need. And again, if they're starting in South Shore, which is a lot of open industrial land by the steel mills, hey, put them in there and show how valuable they can be to win support and understand what a difference it can make elsewhere. So long as they're also with communities.
But also, Jerry, we should ask those communities what they.
Well, isn't that what they were saying? This
their input, their input is probably the most important part of that equation.
I agree.
You know?
I didn't take this report as they're going in and telling Southeast Side residents what they should do. The whole point of the meeting was, hey, this is a proposal. We think this is a good idea. It's clean. What do you guys think? They talked about some ideas. It'll create jobs. It will create cleaner energy in that area. They weren't forcing it down their throats.
Right.
They were exploring where to put these if they were to be put down there, Kathy, because I think there's probably more open land to do down there than there is up on the north side. But again, I'm not saying that this is not something that shouldn't be introduced to the north side as well. Introduce it places where you can win the hearts and minds of people to recognizing that this is the right way to go to prevent the fracking, to prevent the pollution that comes from all of these other fossil fuels.
Yeah,
ask them if they want. Kathy, for the third time, I think that they were asking them what's the solution, Kathy? Just no, let's not do it. I mean, I love your ideas and stuff, but I don't understand why you're so against. You know, if this is all about hurting people's feelings because it's not popular to tell an at-risk community what they need, they're not telling them what they need. They're introducing this. They're getting input. And, you know, on the flip side, should we bitch and moan that, oh, well, they're going to start, you know, letting more factories go into the southeast side that are going to pollute the community? This is an alternative to that. I'm just like, where's the middle ground here? Is what I'm wondering. I'm still doing it. Okay, well, Kathy, we can agree to disagree. Okay, yeah, put them in Lincoln Park. What part of there's open, abandoned steel factory land on the southeast side are you not hearing me share? I think that's where they're proposing that they put them to start. Those are not occupied residential communities. Okay. There are other places. Have a pilot for people to choose. All right. Before I go into my next story, we've all seen the movie Groundhog Day, haven't we? Because this is a story we keep returning to, Ed. This is the part of the show where we return to stories we previously reported on that are continuing to evolve. So how about this? Lori Lightweight, Lori Leprechaun, Lori Thinskin bitches and moans about Governor Abbott busing all these migrants to Chicago. She's welcoming them with open arms, and then she buses them to Burr Ridge.
Yeah, that's not great optics there.
It's not great optics, and she's literally like inviting. She's inviting people to just completely. What's the word? Just gut her politically, and what the optics are, and how utterly tone deaf and disconnected she is with how that looks. Okay. Now there are some factors why she.
You want to play the video? I'll have.
Yeah, let me play the video. Yeah. Let's play the video first, so we can. Let's unwrap this with the video first.
Immigrants. News Nation has learned about 30 families were moved to a hotel in the suburbs, and that the suburbs didn't have any advanced warning. Now, Nick Smith is in Burr Ridge, Illinois, with more on that.
Isn't that what Abbott did? I mean, if Mayor Lightfoot was gonna bus them to Burr Ridge, if there was a reason, and we're gonna continue to get into the details, okay. But she didn't notify the mayor. It just happened.
What was she afraid of waking him up? I mean,
It's
if
do as
you're
I
gonna
say, not as I do.
I mean, the whole point. I mean, it's like I know that the mayor of Burr Ridge also probably. I think they were on record supporting welcoming immigrants and stuff, but this would have been the opportunity for Lori to not do the same thing she always does and actually reach out and coordinate with other areas that she's going to be doing things like sending a bus or two load of migrants to Burr Ridge to a hotel. Is it probably cheaper to house them there right now? Yeah. But talk to their mayor. Let them know that's happening. Maybe that mayor can say, well, is there anything I can help you with?
Communicate. She just does what the fuck she wants. The consequences or circumstances following be damned. That's her whole legislative. She didn't ask any of these aldermen downtown, and this actually kind of speaks to Kathy's point, asking people first. She didn't ask the aldermen ahead of time before she decided to put NASCAR down there so that they could talk to their local constituents and local residents in that community that's going to be impacted. She just does whatever the fuck she wants to do. And this is everything. This speaks to everything that that Politico story was kindly dancing around as far as her brusque management style. She's a dictator. She's Rom 2.0, 2 inches shorter.
And
go ahead.
Yeah, and it just sets up this dynamic where everyone who opposes her is now going to stoke this anti-immigrant stuff just because they want to complain about irresponsible mayors shuffling people around. We're going to steal your gerbs. No, they're not.
Oh, here he is. Internet troubles be damned. Hello, Kit.
Hello, I prayed to the Omnissiah to make sure that the machine's computer would work well, and so the Omnissiah answered, and I just said 10000010001. So, guys, I don't mean to interrupt, but I remember last Friday's show. We were all three of us here, and we were talking about the situation, right? Yep. Immigrants coming here in Chicago, and I said, I hope I'm wrong. I have a feeling that Lightfoot's administration would be doing something sneaky, something devious. I wouldn't know what it was, to be very clear. I don't think any of us knew that this is something that our mayor would do. But
how fucking stupid she would be.
But I had the audacity to hope that maybe, I don't know, these immigrants coming here to Chicago.
I didn't.
They would have something for them here in the city. They'd be taken care of. But oh no, what did Lightfoot do? She did something sneaky. So in other words, I hope someone's picked. Hey, Jerry, Edward, you hear that ringing? That sounds like a call happening. Oh, I hope someone picks up that phone because I freaking called it. I called it. I knew that something like this would happen because this is Lightfoot we're talking about. Mayor Lightfoot, a dictator. That is perfectly spot on, Jerry.
You called it, Kit.
You son of a bitch.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Let's watch the rest of the video to see just how badly she bungled the optics on this one and the reasons behind her decision.
Yep. Mitch, good morning. As buses of migrants continue to make their way to Chicago from Texas and to other sanctuary cities, Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot is calling out Texas Governor Greg Abbott for calling and treating migrants not as people, she says, but as things to be shipped.
My frustration from
what she did.
Pot, meat, kettle. Pot, meat, kettle. And may I also add in my commentary.
What a fucking bitch, am I right?
Let's continue.
I beg your pardon, what did you say?
Coordination and cooperation, but he chooses to do none of those things and instead tries to send human
level of cooperation and communication. She did exactly the same thing to the mayor of Burr Ridge with these people that she just shipped on buses like they were freights.
And
not cargo, not
Cargo.
freight, but human beings across the country to an uncertain destination.
Did you even tell these people they're going to Burr Ridge?
For Governor Abbott and other Republican lawmakers, Mayor Lightfoot now coming under fire for allegedly relocating dozens of migrants from Chicago to hotels in nearby suburbs. One of the stops included a Hampton Inn in Burr Ridge, about 20 miles from the city's downtown.
That's fine. I like Hampton Inns. They're pretty nice.
Local officials a heads up first. Burr Ridge Mayor Jerry Vasilatos says he's frustrated that Mayor Lightfoot is now following in the footsteps of Texas Governor.
I will tell you, I'm still upset that I still don't know who's making the decisions here. In a smaller way, I'm in the same position that she was put in.
He says in the WGN News article, we want to know why Burr Ridge.
Well, he's a Republican.
All right, so he's probably politicizing it also, but the lack of communication there is what's rightfully at issue.
My question is, did she not call him because he's a Republican?
Oh, the plot thickens. Maybe.
Is she averse to reaching across the aisle, so to speak, to coordinate with people in other cities?
I wonder if it was kind of an underhanded political passing of the political football, but it blew. I'm sorry, this was a political hand grenade, and really what it did is it blew up in her face, not his.
One more thing. Guys, can you pause here for a second?
Yeah, sorry.
Look, it's a blast from the past. It's from July 9th of 2018. But when we're done playing this video, I would like to share something that Heartlands Media reported about the Gary Chicago International Airport. It's in our private chat. I'll be more than happy to share it with our viewers because everyone needs to see this. All right. So right after we play this, let's go and play it.
All right. Got it queued. Stand by.
While Chicago and encompassing Cook County are considered migrant sanctuary cities and have passed laws meant to protect immigrants from deportation, the portion of Burr Ridge where many of the migrants are now staying is actually in a different county. Now, it's unknown who is actually footing the bill for the migrants' accommodations or exactly how much the hotel rooms cost. However, rooms here.
Who wants to bet they know where that money's coming from? I wonder if there's any leftover COVID funds that they can't put to reopening mental health clinics, or providing some other kind of investment infrastructure here in our south and west and north side neighborhoods.
In Burr Ridge can go from anywhere from $159 a night to $189 a night. We are expecting to hear.
How many fucking empty buildings do we have in the city that could be converted? Or that should be converted. Do you remember how fucking fast she and Pritzker got McCormick Place set up for all of the bodies that were going to come in for COVID? Remember how they went together?
I remember that.
Right?
God almighty.
If it's they've got McCormick Place, they've got the east complex of McCormick Place that I don't think is used. It's the Black Beam building.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they set up the emergency center in the more modern McCormick Place, but you're going to tell me that you can't, if you can do that, you can't figure out how to keep migrants in the city or figure out a more affordable way that you can keep them here long term, because they're going to be at these hotels out in Burr Ridge indefinitely, paying what those hotel rates are. That's going to be billed nightly, weekly, monthly, yearly until they figure out how they're going to help these people, and it's going to be on our dime.
Jerry,
we could divert that from the police budget.
None of that's going to happen, guys. Here's the thing, and I hope I'm wrong. And I want you two to say, hey, Kent, man, that's so exaggerated. I hope you're wrong. And you know what? We're going to call you out. So here's what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen to all those people in those hotels right now. Slowly but surely, all of them will be reported back. There will be also accusations of potential crimes taking place.
Yep.
That will cause said people.
By this Republican mayor, I'm sure.
It's easy to vilify a Republican mayor, and you would expect him to do that, but it would be more. There'll be more players being involved in it because Illinois also borders Indiana, and in Indiana is the Gary Chicago International Airport. I hope I'm wrong. I don't think they're going to be there indefinite. It's going to be piecemeal But all those people who are in that hotel will be deported back. That's what's going to happen.
Gene makes a good point. Another possibility is this guy, the mayor, is he lying or exaggerating? And he was told but said, wait. I don't know. I mean, I think Lightfoot's office would come out and be able to like say if he was, they haven't, if that was the case.
Yeah.
And look, here's the thing.
Definitely come.
You know, this guy was definitely contacted by my office, and we had a long 12-hour discussion. Yes, 12. I just made up 12. I don't know why I said 12.
Edward, look. No matter who it is, be it Democrat or Republican, be it a Democratic mayor or Republican mayor, it doesn't matter. All politicians, part of the two-party system, are scumbags. But here's the thing. There is a very good chance that this Republican mayor is telling the truth. And I'm not going to bat for him, right? I'm not. But he could very well be telling the truth, like, hey, no one informed me that this was going to happen. And this isn't the first time a Chicago mayor was able to get their way and their muscle into other people's backyards. We've seen this before with other Chicago mayors, most notably Old Man Daley himself, who would do so much. Again, there's a book that I recommend everyone to read called American Pharaoh. You'll find out how powerful Old Man Daley was in the city of Chicago. He's the one that made that office what it is. So every other mayor that succeeded after him had that same kind of power too. All those people at that hotel will be displaced. And of course, look, this Republican mayor may want them out because, again, no one told him. If that's the case, a lot of these people, their lives are going to be turned upside down, and innocent families are going to suffer because of the inaction and the incompetence of a lot of our politicians, not only at the federal level, but now here at the local level.
Yeah, they're pawns for these politicians. Abbott used them as pawns to begin with, to get the dirty, unwashed masses of migrants that came across the border into Texas, and say, we don't want them. If you're a sanctuary city, you take them. We don't want them to be our problem, which is just like racist to begin with. And then you've got Lightfoot here, not communicating with the mayor in Burr Ridge or giving any kind of explanation or more understanding of why this was done without it looking utterly ridiculous. She's doing the same thing that he is. Let me go back to the video here.
From Senator Dick Durbin later today, who says that he too wants to speak with different city municipalities about the migrant situation. Adrian?
All right.
Thank you, Nick.
And we've got to get to the southern border now. Thank you for.
All right, so that was the rest of that particular report. What do we see? What's happening in live chat? So Kathy shared that right now it's for 30 days, and I'm wondering, Kathy, are you referencing the amount of time that they're keeping them in Burr Ridge? I don't know what this 30 days is referencing. Jean asks, I don't think these immigrants will commit crimes. Usually they don't do anything wrong because they're so afraid of just being sent back. Exactly. Yeah. All right, so let's go to the video that Kit was referencing that I haven't looked at yet, so I don't have a point of reference here, Kit, but I'll play it, and you can guide us through it.
Yeah, I will.
You want to preface it before I run it?
Yes. So when I mentioned like a lot of those people at that hotel will probably be arrested and sent back. Anyone that's in Illinois, an illegal immigrant in Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Kentucky, they'll be sent to the Gary Chicago International Airport. Now, again, things could have changed, but this is something we were on in 2018. Okay. This is just a short compilation of interviews that we covered when we were doing field reporting for Hard Lens Media. Let's play it.
Which we hope to do again soon for Chicago Corners. We are wrapping things up into the next year. All right, let me bring this up and then we'll play it. Good on you, kid. I've never seen this video. It looks like it's going to be good.
We have seen the buses. We have seen the human beings shackled and forced onto the planes. Mothers and fathers separated from their children. The city of Gary claims they have nothing to do with these deportations. Yet they have protected ICE with large numbers of Gary SWAT officers, sheriff's deputies, and state police, and have forced demonstrators into a gated parking lot surrounded by armed police. The Gary Jet Center has built 3 new buildings with hangars and is about to open a customs building. Up until now, O'Hare has handled international deportations, but it seems that Gary is doubling down on working with ICE to separate families with racist deportation.
We need to do something. We need to fight.
We need to stop this deportation, this, criminalization of immigrants in this country. Every day there's something on the news that just makes me so angry. And we need to stop this.
And it's going to get worse, my friends. It's going to get worse before it gets better. So we need to hold the line. We are the last line of defense.
This fight is a long-term fight that we all have to be in it together.
Everyone, this is not a Democratic fight or a Republican fight. It's a moral issue. It's a moral fight. Remember, the previous president, Barack Obama, was dubbed the deporter in chief. So it's not a right wing, it's not a left wing, it's a human fight. It's a fight for humanity.
It's been going on for years, probably, right since before Donald Trump became president. But it's become a much larger operation since being in charge, right? It's like the numbers of deportees getting out of this airport has increased, probably double, threefold.
And this airport deports for all of Indiana, all of Illinois, all of Wisconsin, and Kentucky here.
Usually there's a couple of buses, 2 or 3. It's really sad when you see it because it's all blocked out. I mean, the windows are all blocked out and everything. They, of course, have police escorts. Then when they bring them to the planes, it's like they're shackled, and then the plane windows are blocked out too. And it's really, really sad.
My sister was part of one of deported from Chicago airport, actually. She was sent back. She was only here to visit for 1 week, and she was sent back just because of the executive order that went into effect while she was on the plane.
We are here every Friday, right? Today was a much larger crowd and quite effective because we actually, stopped the plane, but not directly, but they suspended the flight today.
We're going to have to invade the politics, and we're going to have to also get our feet in the street and put our bodies on the line, and that's the main way that we're going to be able to overcome this. And in between elections, elections matter, but the fact is that we need to invade those elections, not just pick the lesser of two evils.
All right, that's the end of that video.
It was outstanding, Kit.
Thank you.
Really well done. Really well done.
That was pre-news mullet, Kit.
Yes.
Yes.
There you go.
Out there doing the good work.
Thank you, Edward. But yes, that was just some of the stuff that we did cover for the Gary Chicago International Airport, and I'm willing to bet that all those people in that hotel will visit said airport. And by the way, when we talked to, there's individual interviews, and we also spoke to people off the record, how again the immigrants are chained like animals and have to crawl up the steps onto the airplane to be deported back to their home country.
Now, the WGN News report by Ben Bradley and Julianne Cruz goes on to say that Democratic politicians, including Lightfoot Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, have vowed to welcome the migrants and provide a full range of services to meet their immediate needs. Chicago's a so-called sanctuary city, and so is Cook County. Local officials have passed laws meant to protect immigrants from deportation. However, the portion of Burr Ridge where many of the migrants are staying, Kit, is actually in DuPage County. They're moving them to a county that doesn't have the laws in place like Cook County. All right. So while campaigning for Congress, Grasso said he would work to secure the border and defund sanctuary cities. However, Grasso noted his village board had not taken a position on sanctuary cities. Grasso said what kind of a fucking play is this? She sends him into a county that she knows doesn't have the same protections as Cook County.
Well, Jerry, it's like I said, look, the biggest open secret is, yes, Chicago is a sanctuary city. Okay, fine, yeah. But how often do the immigrants, illegal immigrants, or people who are seeking safety and sanctuary allowed to stay in the city of Chicago and Cook County? How long are they here for? Does anyone really care? And if a politician can move them so be it. And that's what the Gary Chicago International Airport is all about.
Right.
Jerry, do me a favor. Whatever the other time, have just a small conversation with Daniel, and he will tell you about his impression at the Gary Chicago.
I don't doubt any of this. Yeah, I mean, it'll be good.
No. But hear me out, because again, this is just a build-up, just so everyone understands this dirty secret. All right. When we were driving there in 2018 to this airport, I was talking to Daniel about the Gary Chicago International Airport because there's the Gary Air and Water Show. And when we were getting close to the area, he's like, wait, what are you talking about? I see no airport. It's almost hidden out there in the open. And then when you get there, you realize it's such a big secret. This is where Chicago sends all of its problems away. This is where it sends people where no one's going to ask questions. It's right there under our noses.
So you could make the argument that knowing DuPage County doesn't have these protections in place, and knowing that Mayor Grasso was a Republican who openly campaigned on defunding sanctuary cities and securing the border, Lightfoot basically just pandered to the public she was going to do something and basically put them back in harm's way. You could make that argument, yes?
Yes. And on top of that, if I'm wrong, hey, you guys can call me out and say, oh, Kit, you over-exaggerating. And you know what? I'll apologize.
I don't think you're wrong, Kit. We know what Mayor Lightfoot, we know what, look, when it comes to Mayor Lightfoot.
What a fucking bitch, am I right?
I just can't get
beg your pardon. What did you say?
Get out of here. Be gone. Beetlejuice.
That doesn't work on me. I've got worm insurance.
Hey, Lightfoot.
You've seen the movie, you know what I mean.
All right.
Lightfoot. Your ass is showing. Go away.
I know. Actually, I just came on to say that, look, it's a completely logical set of reasons why I shipped the migrants to Burr Ridge, and it really has to do with the fact that since they're in DuPage County now, that bitch Preckwinkle can't do a goddamn thing about it. Gotta go.
You know, this isn't a story that's really, I don't know, this is not a story that is one to make light of. But I mean, we'd either be crying if we weren't laughing about the absurdity of what's going on here. But, you know, it's just more evidence of why this bitch has got to go. And I'm not being a misogynist using the word bitch. I use the word bitch when I've talked about Mayor Rahm Emanuel in the past also. It's not a gender-based slur, as far as I'm concerned. What do our viewers in the live chat think? Facebook user. Yeah, Jesus Christ, what a mayor. Gene shares, I find how these people, immigrants, are being treated very sad and depressing. Yeah, why don't we put him at the Drake? Why didn't Lori Lightfoot take him down to the Drake downtown? Show them how much you really care about them and take care of them well, Lori.
Or put them in the W. Is W still there, isn't it? Maybe it isn't. The hotel.
Yes. Bad cookies. Thank you for making my point for me. Yes. Bitch has no sex if used as a derogatory term. Men can be bitches too. And I think I used that drop in when we were talking about Darren Bailey not too long ago.
Yeah.
Bad cookies. Be a good cookie. There you go.
All right. So, well, we've kind of unwrapped what's going on there. Let me move on to our next story.
Oh, we can't get away from her, can we?
We can't. When it comes to Mayor Lightfoot, I told you, revisiting the dumpster fire that is Mayor Lori Lightfoot is like Groundhog Day. All right, so I've got this article queued up. So apparently a reporter had a dust-up with Mayor Lightfoot. What reporter doesn't have a dust-up with Lightfoot? I'm trying to bring up the article here.
Just the ones that don't actually do their job.
Right, yeah. All right. So I don't know if this has a video to go along with it. Maybe I need to refresh it. Hang on.
I think
because I do think that there was a video, but because I gotta refresh the page to get past the ad and to run the video. So this is.
got it.
You got? I got it. I got it. It's coming up.
Yep.
All right. Here we go.
Mayor Lightfoot, every time you have a press conference, you say crime is down. The economy is booming.
Well, that's not true, but get to your question, sir.
Across the street, we had a police officer on duty, the victim of a hit and run. We have Michigan Avenue, the magnificent miles now referred to as the Mile of Fear. The water tower place has thrown the keys back to the lender. They say they don't want to be in Chicago anymore. Real Chicagoans are asking me, how could you possibly even consider running for re-election as mayor of the city of Chicago after all the harm you've caused?
Well, I disagree with you fundamentally, and I don't think I need to address and dignify your comments 1 second further.
How is that not a fair question?
Jerry?
That was a fair question. She just didn't want to answer it.
Yeah, because it threatened her thin skin. Oh, guys, we gotta take a quick break here. Thank you, Kathy, for the $1 super chat, and we know what that means.
So guys, Jerry, I'm sorry to do this to you.
Yeah.
But I pulled up my interview with Lightfoot. I put it in the
Oh, did you? Awesome. All right, let me pull it up.
Yeah, because I wanted to see what kind of person she is, and obviously the scam was there. Bad Cookies, Cassie Powers, Jean, everyone else in the live stream chat, Miguel H. Yes, you have an extension on your homework assignment. I actually interviewed Lightfoot.
Kit, let me also share. I do want to run the video of your interview because it's going to definitely. But I do want to, before we lose track of what that encounter ended up provoking, this journalist is now suing the mayor. I think on pretty fairly legal and legitimate grounds.
Good.
His name is William Kelly. He filed a federal lawsuit against Lightfoot and the Chicago Police Department Superintendent David Brown after his press credentials were revoked. Now, we have press credentials. Thankfully, Daniel set things up where I was able to go down to the CPD's big complex down on the south side. I have them there. And get press credentials so I can – I haven't used them really that much yet. I'm looking forward to, though, as we start covering things. Sorry, I think I had something in my hair. But so they revoked this man's press credentials for asking that question, all right? So he filed a federal lawsuit. The suit, filed by journalist William J. Kelly to the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Illinois in late August, alleges Lightfoot and Brown are violating his First Amendment and 14th Amendment rights, saying they have done this for the most cynical and contemptible reason that can be imagined, to prevent Lightfoot from being questioned about their failures in the performance of the public office they currently occupy. Lightfoot desperately wants to prevent anyone from questioning her about her multiple failures in office or about the false statements she makes at press conferences because she's standing for a re-election and wants to keep her dismal performance as mayor of Chicago from being publicly exposed and criticized, the suit reads. This is exactly what Rahm Emanuel did and why he didn't run again, because the shit ended up hitting the fan when it finally came out that he covered up the Laquan McDonald execution in the streets before his prior election, and he realized now that that was under light of day, he wasn't going to get away with that again. Lightfoot is basically playing defense right now, making sure the questions aren't presented to her so she can avoid having to be held accountable for what these journalists are legitimately asking her. The suit continues because Kelly, in his role as a reporter and journalist, has caused great embarrassment for Lightfoot by asking the hard and embarrassing questions about her obvious failures as mayor, and because this has and would continue to hurt her chances of being reelected, Lightfoot has directed Brown to revoke Kelly's City of Chicago press credentials, which prevents Kelly from attending any more of her press conferences. This is bullshit, and we know what it is. It's a politically motivated effort to prevent this guy from doing his job and shining a light on her, shining a light on the cockroach that she is. All right, Kit, go ahead, and then I'll get your video cued.
Well, folks, Lightfoot put on a very good mask for us. Now, when I did this interview that you're going to see, remember, it's 2019. This was after the third mayoral debate in the city of Chicago for 2019. We found out just a few days later that Rahm Emanuel made the historic announcement of saying that he would not seek re-election.
And one of the mayoral candidates, Lori Lightfoot.
I'm sorry, Kid. I had it paused, but it started anyway. I want to continue hearing what you're saying. Go ahead.
So these were all the I interviewed all the mayoral candidates that were there, and again, I had a chance to hear all their perspectives. And Lightfoot put on a very good show. I do hope that this reporter is successful with his lawsuit, because Lightfoot always was and always will be a liar. And of all the interviews of this, I find the most sickening because she was lying through and through. And I'm sorry.
My question to you, Kit, while you were doing that interview, was how did you manage to withstand the smell of sulfur standing so close to her?
Well, you know what? I could thank Willie Wilson, because, man, when I interviewed him, that was the most – that's up there. That's up on my top 5 interviews, because he's the one who said, like, Rahm Emanuel, he belongs in the mental asylum. I had to run outside and laugh out loud and compose myself. That was the best interview ever.
No, but you understand what I meant, the overpowering smell of sulfur being around Lightfoot.
Yeah.
Because she is the devil. Okay.
Cross.
All right.
Cross.
That explains the red jacket.
There she is, right. All right, I'll run the video.
Hey, everyone, this is Kit with Heartlands Media.
My God, she's short.
Yeah.
She's like a Muppet.
Yeah. Hey, look, folks. I'm 5'8".
You're 5'8".
Yeah, I'm 5'8".
She's got to be, what, 5'6"?
I don't know.
No, she's got to be 5-0.
She is, of course, participating in this 33rd forum here in the 33rd District.
Look, first of all, I'm going to say I was the chair of the Police Accountability Task Force. We recommended over 100 specific reforms that needed to be done.
I am happy to say I'm glad to see how much the job has aged her.
So if I'm mayor, one of the first things I do is ensure that we implement those specific recommendations. The fact of the matter is, as I said, we spent over almost $500 million just in the last 7 years. There has to be a sense of urgency around that. Somebody has to be asking the question, why do we have on a regular basis 400 to 500 pending cases against the city of Chicago and Chicago police officers just in federal court alone? We have to do a better job. There's a roadmap for that. I've been advocating for that for 2+ years. There's a lot more that can be done, but it starts with having a leader who cares and is going to do something about it, and frankly, isn't afraid of
She doesn't give a fucking shit. Finding a leader who cares. A leader who she cares a lot. Did you ever see that Netflix show movie, I Care a Lot? About this horrible person who was in like the medical industry doing all kinds of horrible things to seniors and nursing homes and stuff. The name of the movie was called I Care a Lot. So when I hear her talking about how much she cares, I'm reminded of how hollow the sentiment actually was in that movie, about how little. What she's saying is actually the opposite.
taking on the FOP.
Thank you so much for joining Heartlands Media. And for our viewers, what's going to make you stand out compared to your opponents that are running for office?
Because you're 5-0, you don't stand out to begin with.
Well, listen, I think I am talking about making sure that we leave no one behind in the city of Chicago. I think the divide between the haves and the have-nots is not.
I got to ask you, Kit, and this is a legitimate question. Any sense now, looking back from your perspective, if there was any sincerity, or do you? And she just completely got in over her head, where she's mutated into this monster. Do you sense, in hindsight, that there was any goodwill here, or you think she was a complete calculation to bamboozling people?
It's a little bit of a calculation of bamboozling people, and also the position of power might have been more than she anticipated.
Yeah.
So yes, she was putting on a mask, a lie. These politicians lie. I've interviewed enough of them. They are liars. But I think this position of absolute power, because remember, the office of mayor in Chicago is one of absolute control. it mutated her. It turned everything up by 11. So, you know, that's why everything's up by 11. So there you go.
All right, we'll go back to it.
Between the haves and the have-nots is only increasing exponentially. And I think it's critically important that we have a comprehensive plan to uplift neighborhoods. I think there's a real hunger out there for change. I see it every day. I hear it from people. And what they're looking for, I think, is someone who is a real leader, who is running a citywide campaign as we are, and who has a plan and the experience to be able to take on the tough challenges and bring people together to solve problems. And
she didn't have that raspy voice back then either. I think that's also the toll of the job.
Yeah, it made her go crazy.
Yelling at everybody. Now, she doesn't, well, she does yell a lot in public, but I'm sure that she probably yells a lot at home, given some of the rumors I've heard about her domestic life, but they're all rumors.
You've got to have equity, inclusion as your North Stars. You've got to listen to people. You've got to meet them where they are.
In my view, this is one of the most important elections, probably in our lifetime. Mean the difference between whether or not we speak our values or we remain the status quo.
They always say that.
You know this.
You're right.
Status quo has failed us.
Unfortunately, under this administration,
she's not wrong there, but it's just words.
If I am mayor, I will make sure that job one is making sure that we transform our police department, that we give them
job one. Job one.
But we hold
one. Job one.
So Ed, that's some of the work that she wants to finish. Remember, breaking more promises, as we talked about earlier in the show.
We have to have a risk management function in the city. The city of Chicago is almost a $10 billion organization. You would be hard pressed to think of any other entity that has that amount of volume and a budget that has no risk management function. But first and foremost,
risk
we
management.
need a mayor who recognizes that no matter where you
What
live,
was her risk management on sending those migrants to Burr Ridge, Jerry?
There was no risk. She was passing the risk, passing the political football.
no matter the God that you worship or the person you love, that we must come together with a common sense of purpose to move forward together.
Lori then, Lori now. You dicks, what the fuck were you thinking? You make some kind of secret agreement with the Italians. You're out there measuring your dicks with the Italians, seeing who's got the biggest dicks. You're out there stroking your dicks over the Columbus statue. My dick is bigger than yours and the Italians. I have the biggest dick in Chicago. Looks like Kit's at a concert.
Hell yeah.
All right, let's continue with your video.
We can do this. Understand why it's so critically important that we have to come together as a city. I got in this race.
We got another $1 super chat from Kathy. Got to give her fix.
Is that me gold?
What the hell are you?
I'm a leprechaun, me dear.
Here, this is what you're looking for, right?
Lost my eyes, startling, help! I'm the leprechaun. Garth, I'm the leprechaun!
Cool it, okay?
I'm the leprechaun!
Stop it, all right?
Don't try and steal me pot of gold!
Okay, so to Gene's question in the chat, what do the Chicago cops think of her? Does the police union support her? No, they hate her. But the interesting thing is, she panders to them by throwing money in our budget to them, thinking that she's going to buy their loyalty when they have nothing but contempt for her. So she basically blows with the wind with what cause she's going to support and what she's going to pander to in the hopes that it's going to benefit her and the support that she's trying to raise. So it's very interesting. She ran on a platform of police reform, especially in light of Laquan McDonald execution. But no, she installed Superintendent Brown, who was from out of town. He was from Texas, and it's interesting. This guy, Superintendent Brown, he had an interesting record that City Council was not privy to when they approved him. They didn't look at his background. He had all kinds of interesting, citations in his jacket as a cop. There were some complaints against him when he was in Texas. So he's not even a local, the superintendent, but he's basically her Oh my goodness. Look at that. Yeah, he's basically her puppet, Gene. He does what she wants. He's there to basically keep the order for her.
And that's Oreo, our official producer for Chicago Corner.
Well, interesting that she will easily lose the next election. Not necessarily, and this is what we were mentioning earlier. 30% of Chicago came out to vote in the last election, and she had to get more than half of the vote to win, right? So that basically means she literally got, what, 20% of voters out of 100% of voter capacity in Chicago.
And
So 20% of Chicago came out to vote for her to win the last election, where there was only a 30% turnout. That speaks to, and that's not, so yeah, the reason we think that we don't think we're fearful she won't lose is because our voter turnout is so abysmal. Go ahead, Kit.
Not to mention, whoever wins the north side will be guaranteed mayor of Chicago. Now, look, I'm a South Sider.
Kathy just spoke to the point, Kit, right there. Interesting timing. She wants rich property protected, and where's the rich property? The north side.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kathy.
Oh, no.
A lot of it, Ed. I mean, listen, from downtown northward is where the more, okay, so Rogers Park, far north side, not as much, but we're talking about Gold Coast, we're talking about Streeterville, we're talking about everything downtown and north into Lincoln Park. I hope to see you there, Kathy. I like that idea.
I will try and make it.
Don't try. There is no try, Kit. Do or do not. There is no try.
I will.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I will
Pretty
try.
good.
I will do what I can. I made some promises, so I will
Break
lift up
'em.
the Olympus to make it happen.
Break them. No, listen, if you got a prior commitment, I understand. I just hope you can join us.
I'll make it.
I mean, we'll be there. Like Kira's going to show up. Her husband's letting her out. Ed and I will be there. Art will be joining us, and hope you can. And I guess I hope everyone else at Heartlands knew about the invitation. It was a very last minute impromptu decision this past Tuesday night. I'm like, let's stop talking about it. Let's just do it this Saturday. Let's do it. Oh, is this what it is? Is this what it is? Why don't you bring her?
I don't. No. Right now, Kit Cabell is single and sassy, and that's how I want.
Single and sassy. Ed, can you pull up the address to put in the chat while I play the rest of Lori's video here?
The bar
For Lincoln Tap Room. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I
Let me
felt
find
that too
that.
many individuals, families, and neighborhoods
Stand by.
were being left behind. That the cries for resources and to be a priority
That's what else she has to finish. She has to leave more neighborhoods behind.
on the city's in the city's funding and priorities just weren't being heard. I envision a city where we have opportunity in every neighborhood.
And in regards for your campaign, so our viewers and subscribers can learn more about you, where can they find you online? And
innocent kid.
You can find us at lightfootforchicago.com. We're very active on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram.
Thank you so much for joining Heartlands Media. This is Kid, everyone. Peace.
Very nicely done interview, Kit. Very professional, as always. So I think that, I think it was, there you go. Yeah, you got it right. 3010 North Lincoln Avenue is the Lincoln Tap Room. It's at the intersection of Belmont, Wellington, and Southport, where that beautiful St. Alphonsus Church is. You can find the neighborhood by looking up in the sky, and you'll see the steeple from St. Alphonsus Church, and Lincoln Tap Room is just across the street from it on Lincoln Avenue.
So join us on Saturday, September 10th at 8 p.m. at the Lincoln Tap Room. We're hanging out. We're talking. We're probably drinking.
Oh, we'll be drinking.
You better believe we're drinking.
And if you're talking with me, you're probably talking about pizza for an hour. But we could talk about other stuff.
Get ready for that. Okay, speaking of Groundhog Day. Another story that's returned from the last show. We talked extensively about the Virginia McCaskey wanting more money from everybody to put in her plans if they were to move the Bears to Arlington Park. Now, once again, Lightfoot, another last-ditch effort here. She thinks she's going to keep the Bears here by proposing they're going to put in a roof to the dome, but the Bears plan for $5 billion stadium campus doesn't include it. It's not good enough, guys. It doesn't have a retractable roof, like something you'd see out of the Avengers movies, where the helicarriers like rise out to like go over the city. Yeah, I guess that's what the Bears are expecting in Arlington Heights is for the new stadium. Their dome to have a retractable. So, and of course, Lightfoot's plan, which doesn't include the retractable roof, would need public funding, the team says. If the deal falls through, the Bears are not exploring other sites for a new stadium, team leader said. Chicago officials hope they can still keep the team in the city.
Now, hold on. Here's the thing. First of all, the audacity of the Bears ownership and management thinking like, oh, they're hot shit. First of all, win some championships, show me some victories before you have the audacity to say you're going to move anywhere. Second of all, you guys have it pretty good here in Chicago. You made your goddamn name here in this freaking city. Moving anywhere else, well, then go fuck yourselves, okay? So as far as I'm concerned, if the Bears want to leave Chicago, let them leave.
Get the fuck out is what I say too.
Get out.
This city's been very good to them. If they actually give a damn about their name and their brand, they would fight.
Yeah.
Fuck the management. Fuck the ownership.
Jean made a good point in the chat here. She thinks you should do more of those interviews out and about in the world. You do well. Yeah, we're hoping we're going to be utilizing Kit when we go into the mayoral race in the next couple months here, Jean, along with Kira and myself and some other new staff members. So, Kit, we had a conversation about this on a previous show. We will definitely be relying on you when you're available to conduct interviews like that in the field.
I'd be more than happy to help. And look, folks, I love my Chicago teams. Hell, I'm a Chicago White Sox fan through and through. I love my teams. I love Chicago. I love this city. Yes, it's got its problems. But if you are a franchise that's made its name here,
yeah.
If you're a franchise that's been in the city's soul, the audacity to say, oh, I'm leaving, well, then go. Because you never cared about Chicago. You never cared about the people. You never cared about what your name represents. So go.
I misunderstood something, guys, before I get into this article. And I blame the bike congestion on Nelson Avenue because I couldn't read through all the articles. This isn't Lori Lightfoot's plan. This is what they're proposing to Arlington Heights.
Oh, Arlington Heights doesn't want a retractable roof. Is that it?
So the Bears plan for a $5 billion stadium campus, right? They doesn't include a retractable roof, and that would need public fund. So now the team is holding Arlington Heights hostage for a retractable roof. That's the actual story. My bad.
I hope this blows up in the Bears' face and the management and the ownership. Look, Bears fans, hey, Chicagoans, we're through and through. But right now, ownership and management is showing you that they don't care about the team's history, the name, and what it means for the generations of Chicagoans that live here.
Let me just go.
Ownership doesn't care.
No, they
management doesn't care.
It's all this. It's all they want.
It's all about the dollars.
From Noah. Too bad they don't put more money into getting a quarterback. This comes from Noah Asamoah at Block Club Chicago. So here's the meeting in Arlington Heights. So I just think this is going to, they've got Chicago over a barrel. Now they're going to try to play Arlington Heights against the possibility maybe they'll go back to Chicago unless the public in Arlington Heights finances the retractable roof that they want. That isn't part of their plan. It's going to be part of the campus that they want Arlington Heights to build. The Bears might be talking about moving to the suburbs so they can play in a larger, can you hear me? He's covering my mic. So they can play in a larger, fancier stadium on a $5 billion campus, but those plans don't include a retractable roof, officials said Thursday. The stadium that would be built at the proposed Arlington Park campus would be enclosed, but the heavy cost of a retractable roof would put that beyond the team's reach. Oh, it would put it beyond the team's reach, Bears president Ted Phillips said at a Thursday night meeting where the team's leaders outlined possible plans for the park. It's fucking grifters. They've got so much fucking money and they want all the taxpayers to foot the bill on a mediocre team. The crowd, which filled up about half the auditorium at John Hersey High School in suburban Arlington Heights, applauded at news of the enclosed roof, but they groaned when they heard it wouldn't be retractable. What we've seen with the retractable domes is that the costs are prohibitive, that the return isn't there, Phillips said. There's mechanical issues. The stadium would be part of a sprawling 326-acre entertainment district focused on the Bears, with the team suggesting the campus could include housing, office space, a hotel, restaurants, and more. They'd build the stadium and move there if they ditch Soldier Field, where Mayor Lori Lightfoot has suggested putting a dome over the existing field in a bid to keep the team. I guess Lightfoot didn't realize they wanted the retractable roof to come with it. I'm sure she's going to be scurrying around now to figure out how she can update her proposal and add the retractable roof that we would probably be paying for. Although the team leaders kept most details for the Arlington Heights proposal vague during Thursday's 2-hour presentation, they doubled down on their request for public funding for the venture and said they will not build a casino. They also extensively quoted Daniel Burnham, who's probably rolling in his grave that they're quoting him, the famed architect and city planner known for his work in Chicago, the city the team now says it could leave when describing the scope of their own plan. And you know what? Leave the fucking name Chicago at the door on your way out. We hope that these plans are no small plans and they have magic in them, architect Paul Milana said. Here's your magic, Paul, right here. Thank you, Ed. We hope that these plans are no small plans and they have magic in them. More than 100 eager suburban residents and Bears fans came out to listen. Among them was Duke Dynick of Mount Prospect, a 50-year-old season ticket holder thrilled about the potential move. It's about time. He'll die. If he was a 50-year season ticket holder, he'll be in the grave by the time that this actually gets built out in Arlington Heights. So he arrived 2 hours early in a Bears-themed mask, sunglasses, shirts, and shorts. This is going to...
Well, here I am.
A little overdressed there. The meeting came after months of back and forth between team leaders and the Lightfoot administration, which has pushed for the Bears to stay in the city. Blah, 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 blah. I'm just so tired of these rich people's problems, these rich team owners, and how we're all supposed to foot the bill on their circuses, right?
Bears face. Here's the thing. Bears fans, management and ownership doesn't care about you. They don't care about the name and the brand. They're willing to do this. Honestly, if you truly love this city and you love what the Bears mean, you hope this blows up in the ownership's face and that they earn a huge heaping pie of humble pie, a huge slice of humble pie. These motherfuckers deserve everything that's coming to them.
At the end of the article, here's some points before I close this one out. In September 2021, the team signed a purchase agreement to buy the former Churchill Downs racetrack property in Arlington Heights. So they signed the purchase agreement, which would be the site of their stadium campus. But the deal is not closed as team leaders negotiate with city officials. So they buy the property. It's like a hostage situation. We have the property, so what are you going to give us to build our stadium there now? Because, if you don't give us what we want, we're not going to redevelop that property. It's going to be empty. The Bears lease Soldier Field, which is the smallest capacity of any NFL stadium from the Park District. It would cost the team about $84 million to break their lease as early as 2026, Tribune has reported. I proposed last week that we let them break their lease for free so long as they are never, ever allowed to use the name Chicago anymore, period.
Yeah.
Let's see how successful.
Take that name away.
You want to break the lease? Fine. Goodbye. We're not charging you the $84 million, but you're not using our name. See how well you do as the Arlington Heights Bears. Assholes. In response, Lightfoot has pitched a $2 billion redevelopment of Soldier Field to benefit the Bears and boost capacity, and has suggested Chicago will lure another team here if the Bears do leave. But the Bears stand to benefit financially from a move to the suburbs. At Soldier Field, they have to split revenues with the Park District while paying rent. At their own complex in Arlington Heights, they'd be able to build their own revenue streams upon something that the taxpayers have built for them. Negotiations are ongoing, and Lightfoot said Tuesday she hopes the team will remain in Chicago, though the city has a plan B if they leave. Bears leaders are...
Take your torches and go!
So that guy who showed up early for the meeting, who's all excited about, them coming to Arlington Heights, the project would cost nearly $5 billion and take up to 10 years to complete, Phillips said. So if this guy's been a 50-year season ticket holder, well, let's be kind and say he got his season tickets when he was maybe in his 20s or 30s.
Yeah.
He ain't gonna live to see this $5 billion development in Arlington Heights.
You got your Super Bowl in '85, man. I'd say you got your money's worth already.
Yeah. Team President George McCaskey.
Born, man. Come on.
Team President George McCaskey said public dollars would be necessary to make the development a reality. It's just so necessary. We got to pay for this football team. You know, as a creative, I wish it was as easy for me to finance my next movie that I want to produce on public funds. You see, we have to figure. That's why I haven't made another movie, because I'm trying to figure out how to put the fucking money together. I can't go with my hat in hand to the city of Chicago and say, hey, I want to make a movie. I'm going to shoot it here. I'm going to create jobs. Can you give me the $1 million budget? These guys
are going to shoot it in Arlington Heights.
Well, yeah, maybe that's what I should try doing. See how that works before they laugh me out of whatever meeting I'm in. All right, so yeah, that's the update. I just want to give you. It's the story that keeps mutating as far as rich people's problems with this stadium and what they want. So one other update here. I won't spend long on this before going to the other two upbeat stories to close the show with. It's Groundhog Day with this story. Again, it's another update, but
yeah, we were just talking about this.
We were just talking about it, and now the owners are just like, no, the city's not helping them at all. It seemed in the last story we did on this that there were some discussions back and forth, but now the Chicago business says it cannot coexist with the salt shed. And I'll go to the video, and then I'll go to the article.
Now's the time.
Oh no, now's not the time. Now is not the time for a commercial. At least they're not that long. All right, here we go.
Join us tomorrow night at Lincoln Tap Room, 8 p.m. If you want to, because we'll be there.
I just don't understand. So it's really ruined my whole plan for the rest of my life.
The new music venue is getting some feedback from neighbors who say it's causing a disruption to their business.
Anthony Ponce live with the controversy over the Salt Shed. Anthony.
Yes, the Salt Shed, Chicago, it kicked off its inaugural summer concert series this past month, much to the delight of Chicago's outdoor music lovers. However, there is a production house right across the river from this new venue with a very rich Chicago history, who says the noise levels that they've seen throughout this concert series is threatening the way they do business.
We built that here because it was the perfect area.
That was 26 years ago. SNA Studios has been in Goose Island ever since, a production house with 2 sound stages, shooting films and some 70 commercials per year.
We've never had a problem with any of them, and we've never had a problem with any of our neighbors the whole 26 years until this.
But since the Salt Shed started hosting outdoor concerts just 200 feet away across the river, SNA Studios noticed a major problem.
We discovered that we had sound leakage all over our building,
making it impossible for them to guarantee their clients clean audio. A major problem when you operate 2 sound stages.
Literally, you walk into the parking lot when they're doing sound check, and you cannot hold a conversation this far away from somebody.
The hospitality group which operates the Salt Shed says, we've tried to work with SNA as much as possible.
I think I'm calling bullshit on that as we get into the article.
We send around notes to the neighborhood before the shows, telling them what time sets are happening and sound checks. And we do try to make sure that everybody on the site is doing everything they need to do to help us continue to be good neighbors. But SNA says prior notice from the venue isn't good enough to guarantee its clients a professional product, and it would need some $2.5 million in upgrades to soundproof the building.
We're getting zero help from anybody. The city has done nothing for us. The alderman does nothing for us. Nobody seems to be interested in saying, well, what about that?
And the folks at SNA Studios say they do have a cordial and a civil relationship with the folks who operate the Salt Shed, but that it has engaged an attorney to explore the possibility of the legality of what they are calling sound pollution on this stretch of the river. We are live in Goose Island tonight. Anthony Ponce, Fox 32, Chicago.
I feel bad for these people over at SNA because when we covered this story the other day, someone in the live chat had asked, well, why isn't that studio soundproofed? It is soundproofed. It's not soundproof for the base of an outdoor concert that's coming from right across the river next door to it. It's soundproof for like traffic outside. That's generally what soundproofing is for any soundstage, any studio. Shit, I mean, kid, you know this at the studio over there. You got to be worried about stuff that's happening around you. To
always
best acoustics possible. So I feel bad because these guys clearly, I don't think that they were. There was not supposed to be a live outdoor venue. I think what ended up happening when we covered this the other day was that because they couldn't get the inside put together in time, they decided to do stuff outside. And the owners of the Salt Shed have said, well, no, it's just temporary. We're going to move inside. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they plan to have more outdoor concerts whenever it's warm out and do the indoor concerts when it's cold in the winter. In the meantime, these guys across the street who've been there for 20 years are going to get fucked as well as their clients because they cannot provide optimal production environment for them. So that's that update. So I like this story because I'll tell you why I like this story. Many, many years ago, I want to say it was, when was I in Los Angeles? Okay, I think it was around 2004. There was a movie that came out, produced and directed by the Chicago team of Bob Title and George Tillman. And it was a movie called Roll Bounce. And it was a really sweet, nostalgic look at roller skating rinks on the South Side and the kids that occupied them and just a different time. It was kind of like a nice nostalgic trip to the past. So I saw this story on Block Club Chicago and it reminded me of that movie. The reason I'm remembering that movie is I actually like edited a piece on that movie Roll Bounce when I was doing producing and editing for Made in Hollywood when I was out living in Hollywood. So this story comes to us from Block Club Chicago, and that's the backstory to why this story caught my attention. Southside Skating Rink reopens after a remodel. The rink is for the community. This comes to us from Maya McDonald at Block Club Chicago. And I used to like to roller skate when I was younger. I can't anymore, unfortunately, due to my disability. Can't roller skate with a prosthetic limb if you don't have your knee. But roller skating was a big thing in the 80s for me. And I like this story as it comes out of Chatham, that it's reopened for the community. And hopefully new generations can enjoy what maybe a lot of us think was just something from our own younger years. The Chatham Rink has been around for almost 50 years. We have generations that come in and say, this rink has saved my life. Now I'm bringing my kids and their kids to skate. Curtis and Ramona Pouncey, owners of the rink at 1122 East 87th Street, are welcoming customers back after a months-long closure. The rink at 1122 East 87th Street reopened September 1st after closing in November. Owners Curtis and Ramona Pouncey celebrated the occasion with a grand reopening, welcoming about 400 young people back into the space. Curtis Pouncey said area kids were grateful the rink reopened, so they had something to occupy their time, something positive. One of the things that I noticed was that when the kids came in, they just stopped and looked around and they said, "We're home. I'm glad. I am so glad to be home. We are home," Ramona Pouncey said. They were smiling. There were some kids where you could see little tears were welling up in their eyes. Curtis and Ramona Pouncey bought the rink in 2019. They are skating enthusiasts who frequented the rink themselves when the previous owners announced he wanted to sell the business to someone who would keep it a skating rink. It wasn't open for long before the pandemic forced them to shut down, Curtis Pouncey said. They eventually were able to reopen as pandemic restrictions eased, but they closed in November to renovate the building, which was an electric company before it was a skating rink, Pouncey said. The couple installed new carpeting, flooring, and lighting, redid the rink's 2 floors, and repainted. The exterior was landscaped and tuck pointed. It was an opportunity to do a great deal of work on the building so that we couldn't when we were open. Pouncey said. The Pounceys announced in late August they were ready to relaunch, gaining hundreds of supportive comments from excited neighbors. Pouncey said it was important for her and her husband to keep the rink open because of its cultural impact on the community, which reminds me of the nostalgia factor of generations going back to the 80s or 70s or 60s, going to roller rinks or bowling alleys or, fun, positive spaces where you could have fun with your friends. And these kids in this community will have that opportunity now also. The rink has been around for almost 50 years, and it means so much to this community. If it was gone, it would leave a vacuum. These kids, it has saved lives for so many people. We have generations that come in and say, this rink has saved my life. Now I'm bringing my kids and their kids to skate. So it's a way of us preserving the family unit in our community and giving them something to do because there's not a lot of things for the family to do on the south side of Chicago. Now that the space is reopened, the couple is exploring other ideas for new services and events. One idea is Rink Skate University classes where people can learn skating at the different proficiency levels. Ramona Pouncey, who's also a holistic nutritionist, plans to offer nutritional classes and healthy food options such as organic juices, fruit smoothies, sweet potato nachos, salads, and more. They will sell classic food items such as hot dogs and pizza, but it's important for the rink to be a resource to those seeking out ways to lead a healthy lifestyle. Is this not like a fucking inspirational story that every business owner that's trying to open a new business in a neighborhood that needs this kind of a venue for their young people should be looking to? I just love it. I mean, it's just like, I don't want to be corny, but it gives me the warm and fuzzies. I really admire what this couple has done. We're basically talking nutrition, teaching families how to eat better for better health, and then incorporating the physical aspect of skating with it. Ramona Pouncey said it's like a whole wellness package, and I don't think I've heard of any skating rinks doing this to this extent, and I haven't either, which is why I think it's a wonderful story to put a spotlight on. The couple is committed to preserving skating for the next generation and helping get people of all ages involved. They'll also hold future community outreach events, which will be posted on the rink's website and social media pages. The rink is for the community. It's for the kids and families that live in that general area, and it gives them something to do. And we feel it's kind of our mission to continue that rink for this underserved area, Curtis Pouncey said. They don't have much to do in terms of recreation, and we feel we're providing some good, clean, wholesome fun for these kids in this area. How about that?
Very good.
Did you guys roller skate when you were younger?
Yes.
Yeah, I went to some roller rinks when I was a kid.
I remember roller rink in Chicago. Only the initiated will know what I'm talking about.
Uh-oh, I'm not initiated. I am not one of the initiated. Kit, so can you tell me what you're talking about? Remember when Bane was talking about you're not the uninitiated, Bruce?
Hold on.
All right.
Typing it up. Let's see.
Are you sending a link?
I'm trying to find the roller rink here. Hold on. Hopefully it will. This is the same spot we're talking about.
Now, Kathy references outdoor movie theaters. I agree. I miss the drive-ins, and they kind of made a comeback during the pandemic.
Yeah, there's a few still around.
Yeah, I think that's another great nostalgia.
Yeah, it's been around for 45 years. The roller rink, the roller rink in Chicago. It is on 1122 East 87th Street.
Cool.
That's it. I remember that spot.
So that's where you used to go.
I used to go there. Yes.
So once again, if you want to get a sense of just a nostalgic view back to like what roller rinks were like, great movie, Roll Bounce. I'm going into my like movie producer, director, movie fan mode, but I think you can find it on some streaming service. And it was produced and directed by the Chicago filmmaking team, Bob Title, who's the producer, and George Tillman. And they are famous for the film. They're famous for the barbershop movies. They also did Men of Honor with De Niro and Cuba Gooding. And I think their breakout film before they went LA was called Soul Food. But yeah, Roll Bounce is what the movie is called. And it was set in Chicago in the 70s. So check it out. 70s or 80s. Check it out. You'll enjoy it if you like nostalgic movies that are like little time capsules to the time that we all fondly remember. All right, so our last story isn't really a story so much as just an opportunity for all of you out there. Copying and pasting the link. Please stand by. Okay, another great opportunity shared from Block Club Chicago. As life resumes to some sense of normalcy and people are going out looking for professional opportunities, this weekend, need professional headshots? An Englewood nonprofit has you covered for free. Made in Englewood will offer free makeup, photography, and printing services Saturday for anyone wanting personal or professional pictures. Atavia Reed reports. Picture-perfect neighbors ready for their spotlight can have professional photos taken for free this week in a new commercial hub on the south side. Made in Englewood, a design studio will host Faces of Englewood, offering free professional headshot photography and printing services 2 to 6 p.m. Everything's linked in the description box below, where our show notes reside. Saturday at E.G. Wood, 1122 West 63rd Street. Neighbors and business owners will receive digital and printed copies of their photos and makeup services for free, according to an Instagram post. Made in Englewood is one of the several businesses using the E.G. Wood Commercial Hub, a 4,000 square foot retail shop that opened last month. Powell's Barbershop Momentum Coffee, Mayoral Wesley and Beehive, a design firm with co-working areas, are minority-owned businesses also housed in the hub. Made in Englewood, in partnership with Gertie Chicago, was a recipient of the Chicago Community Fund grant in July. For its work towards equitable impact in the community, grants were used for the photo opportunity. See, the thing I like about this is so much of the grant money from COVID seemed to be, the priority seemed to be restaurants and eateries. And while I don't want to see eateries and restaurants going out of business, it's like there are more businesses throughout Chicago that provide greater services than restaurants that were getting the lion's share of all of the COVID funds and bailout and grants and stuff because, you know, everybody was forced to shut down. So I'm glad to hear that they were able to use those funds in a way that they're giving back to the community here. I think this is really cool. Tomorrow, September 10th, 2 to 6 p.m. Linked in the show notes, everybody. If you need a professional headshot, head on over. I think it's really great that they are thinking about helping people that way.
Yeah, definitely a good deal if you need headshots.
And a good business move. Yes, Gene, absolutely. So, Ed, can you bring up the announcement for tomorrow night one more time as we close out the show?
Sure can.
I don't have the Twitter queued up.
Join Chicago Corner Team this Saturday, September 10th at 8 p.m. for a meet and greet at the historical Lincoln Tap Room, 3010 North Lincoln Avenue. We'll be hanging out, talking about pizza for 200 hours, and also talking with Jerry and Kira.
We're going to give Ed a separate table for the pizza talk, okay? Because I know that will go for 2 hours.
Well, we can put pizza on the table, too.
Well, we're going to order from Chicago's Pizza down the street since they deliver.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
You guys done, Skippy.
Hey, what do you guys like on your pizza?
I promise to follow through with this, make it happen. I promise.
Don't promise, just do it.
There is no try. Do or do not. There is no try.
What do you guys like on your pizza?
Oh, I like sausage pepperoni. I got Italian beef. I like green peppers. I like mushrooms. You know, all the good stuff. The works.
I go with
everything.
I go with sausage, mushroom, and black olive with thin, and I go with spinach with stuffed.
Oh yes, the stuff. If you're gonna go stuffed, spinach is the way to go. I would throw some garlic in there too.
Oh yeah, that would be good too.
Because I'm half vampire.
Quote me on this one. It's that scene from The Professional with Gary.
Oh, I haven't gotten that drop in yet.
Like, everyone, I want everything, everyone.
Hey,
the Heartstopper's good too. That's the one with all the meats.
Shifting completely off base to pop culture. Any of you guys watching She-Hulk?
Yeah, I'm actually enjoying that.
I love it. I love it. This new this little comedy character they introduced. Did you see the 4th episode, Ed?
Oh yeah, I just saw that the other day.
My name is Madison. 2 N's, 1 Y, but it's not where you think it is. She needs her own movie with Wong, or they need to
series.
They need to team her up with Kate Bishop and Yelena Belova from Hawkeye. The three of them, oh my God, comedy gold. Comedy gold.
I don't know. She-Hulk still's got to warm up on me. I'm still
really.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's just like,
I mean, it's a mixed bag for me because I do think the CGI, the computer generated imagery, it's not up to par. And that's distracting from it. But
I'm trying to ignore that. You know.
Yeah, I'm trying to get past that, and I find it interesting. I really love Jen when she's She-Hulk. I don't really care for her that much when she's Jen.
No.
But the CGI is like taking away from enjoying her as She-Hulk. But it's
they're
fun.
also making that point during the show too. They
are.
The whole last episode was basically making that point.
Yeah.
I also want to bring up something else too. Like, okay, one of my issues with She-Hulk is apparently they were told that they had the budget to do CGI, but then at the last minute everything was cut. So I can imagine what it was like being an editor dealing with it.
Well, no, it's the CGI people, not the editors, but yeah, the graphics.
No matter what, I mean, I feel sorry for the people because they're busting their asses trying to make a show, and they got so little time. And then number two,
they don't have.
What I've heard on the grapevine about She-Hulk is that the writers don't know how to write a law scene because they don't have any lawyers part of the writing team doing kind of court stuff.
Okay, I've seen those criticisms also, Kit, but I will say this. My perception of where those criticisms are coming from are from people that expect this show to be a serious superhero show like Daredevil was, or any of the Defenders characters from the Marvel Netflix shows.
Yeah, that's not where they went.
This is not what this show is. And I'll tell you something else. It's funny because the biggest detractors of critics are whiny bitches of comic book movies to now, who are crying, this is woke, that's woke. Yeah, sometimes stuff is. But let me make my point real quick.
Go ahead.
Let me make my point real quick. Those that will normally complain something is woke, that are aiming this at She-Hulk, who say, well, they made this character woke. You've never read a comic book. Well, you know what? These idiots have never read a She-Hulk comic book, because She-Hulk comic books, and I read them back in the 90s, she was constantly breaking the third wall, and it was a comedy comic book. It wasn't taken seriously. She's like a Deadpool character. So everybody that's complaining and raising criticisms towards this because it's too light obviously didn't read the John Byrne run of the book back in the 90s when they made her this very entertaining, charming character who was flirty, sassy. That's everything the show is.
Yeah, what I like is that they're using.
Then tune out, Kathy.
They're using source material, the comic books, and they're adapting it for a television show. And you know what I see this show basically being is a She-Hulk version of Ally McBeal.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's not meant to be extremely serious.
The reason why the show's not really standing out with me again. It's just that one scene when she's talking down to Bruce about controlling her anger, because there's only one way the writers could have fixed that. She keep everything the same, like I can control it infinitely better than her, and all what Bruce needs to say is, really, Jen, really? And she should break the fourth wall. I'm like, oh crap, yeah, I forgot what he went through. Oh boy, this is going to be so awkward.
I've heard that criticism, Kit, and I would only say that's because the show has got a female writing staff, and the women are not that tuned into Bruce Banner's history as a character. They should be. However, they're writing from their experience, and I can forgive that because everything else is so charming to me.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like, it's just, knowing Bruce Banner's character, and plus even how Jen got her powers, because Bruce turned into the Hulk because she was dying of a kidney disease, and in the comic, Bruce gave his kidneys to her, and the Hulk was acting like, okay, this is one of Hulk's friends. I'm going to help her. I'm going to save her.
The comic book was she was a criminal defense attorney, and she was shot by some gangsters who she was building a case against, and Bruce had to donate his blood. Yeah, Bruce had to donate his blood to her.
I thought it was his kidney.
No, she didn't give her a kidney. No, she was losing blood from being an assassination attempt because she was a criminal attorney. So Bruce Banner gave her a blood transfusion because he was a family member, and that's how she basically gained his powers. That's the official comic.
That's how I remember the animated series going.
Yeah. So what they did in the first episode, they were basically they don't have like a feature length movie time. They needed to get to it really quickly. So they adapted. The whole point was somehow she got infected with his blood. So they're in a car crash, his blood, because she's cut, he's got a cut. I mean, I could forgive that because it's like, this show is not going in the direction of like all the early She-Hulk comics before it became comedy.
Yeah, that's right. She was shot.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So the original, so she was originally introduced as a serious character. Then that run was retired, and I want to say that was probably late 70s, early 80s. Then John Byrne came in and took over the book, and he's a very well-known artist. You'd recognize his artwork, where it became the tone that it is now. So they're basically trying to assimilate and merge different things from her continuity to make it an 8-episode series. And I think it's entertaining, but it's not for everybody. But I just like the fact that we're finally able to like enjoy a little bit of comedy where it's appropriate, unlike the DC movies or the DC characters that I think Warner Brothers, like when they did that show Pissmaker, I called it, James Gunn.
Oh,
awful show. What an awful.
And
they thought
I saw where they went with that, and I was just, they're like, okay, let's make this guy super horrible, and we can do awful raunchy things, and we can put it on HBO Max.
And it wasn't at all interesting or funny.
I didn't hate it, but I was like, there were so many things they could have done better, and whatever.
Gene, if you have Disney Plus, check out She-Hulk. I think also you'll enjoy Hawkeye, because Hawkeye was about Clint Barton's character that was played by Jeremy Renner, basically mentoring a young woman who also has incredible archery skills, and it's more focused on her. She's his protege. I think you'll enjoy, and I think Hawkeye balanced comedy as well as drama and action. I actually think I liked Hawkeye the most out of all the Disney Plus stuff right now that's Marvel related. Anyway.
Yeah, I just I finally caught up with
I haven't seen
Thor.
Hawkeye, so I wouldn't know. But She-Hulk. See, the thing is, I watched She-Hulk because I wanted to see the Hulk. And again, the only thing that has really kind of, it's just that whole conversation she had with Bruce. It's just, that scene in the Avengers where he said, "Hey, look, I tried to shoot myself, and the other guy caught the bullet."
No, the tone is very different, kid. I hear you. I hear you.
It's because you could have made it funny to where she's like, "Oh, wait a minute, I forgot what my cousin went."
Yeah, the writers could have done a little bit more with the material there. I agree with you, but it didn't take me out of the story, because it's like I'm focused on this and enjoying Jennifer Walters and how the ridiculous, absurd circumstances regarding the fact that she can control this and turn it on or off when she wants and use it to her benefit, and it leads to a lot of good comedy in this. So, with that being said, as you like to say,
have a drink.
I'm all out.
Can I just say that I did not hate Thor: Love and Thunder, which finally went on to Disney Plus yesterday.
I couldn't. I didn't hate it, but I forgot it the moment I left the theater.
I thought it was lazy. And here's the thing: they could have caught lightning in a bottle and really made it into something. They could have made Gore the God Killer into the next Thanos. They could have made him as the main bad guy that the new group of Avengers would have to face, and they lost it. Because think about it, a creature that's killing the gods, and they made all the gods look like arrogant assholes. And I've read.
Well, they played it for comedy too, and my biggest problem was there were two tones in this movie. There was Christian Bale playing it straight.
Yeah,
Christian Bale does very well, and then
actor.
And then you've got like She-Hulk like comedy for the rest of it. And you've got this lovely little chemistry between Natalie Portman and Chris Hemsworth that I really, really liked. But I thought Thor Ragnarok, the comedy worked for that as a buddy comedy with him and Bruce. This was just like the director trying to do the same lazy comedy for this one, and because
they were struggling too hard with that balancing act,
and Bale was too serious a character to like bring that type of comedy in for the tone to be even.
And the thing is, with the gods being all like, arrogant and ignoring it, you would, because I've read mythology too, and all the end of the world stories too, about when the gods face the end of the world or end times. They always step up. I mean, they could be selfish and vain, but I think that would have been like a point, and maybe it could have even gone deeper in the mythos of why the gods didn't get involved with Thanos in the first place. It'd be like, look, we're not as powerful as we used to be, and maybe this Gore the God Killer would have been the tipping point of like, okay, Thor, we'll lend you some of our power to fight him. It may not be enough. And they could have made Gore this big bad guy, just like with Starkiller base in the new Star Wars trilogy. They could have kept that being the main threat of the 3 films, but yet they blew it up in the first film, capturing lightning in the bottle. They could have done something.
I agree, Kid. I think that they should have embraced more of the seriousness of Christian Bale's God killer character and just abandon all the it was really more of a comedy that had a serious character and a serious theme in it that just didn't fit. They were mixing two genres that didn't fit. And I blame the director.
Good parts to it, though. I really enjoyed the part where Thor had Zeus's thunderbolt, and he granted the power of Thor to all the kids. So
that was a nice
ass. That was a feel good scene. I just wish that there had been more of that throughout the entire movie.
I think that Chris Hemsworth has really struck gold in this character, in that they realized in the first two films it was just so serious and so straight. They were able to balance some comedy into it with Ragnarok and basically take the absurdity of him being a god living among mortals and play it for some laughs while still retaining some gravitas to like what that would be if he were a god living among mortals. But just didn't work in this last movie for me. But that being said, everybody, we are losing our viewers in the chat. Well, not necessarily. We've got 11 now, but I don't know how many of them are into our pop culture talk to stay attentive. But I do want to say goodnight to everybody. Smokey Sally, thank you. Gene, of course, always good to see you. I think we already lost Kathy Powers. And to everyone else in the chat, I want to thank you again for joining us this evening. Gentlemen, thank you so very much for joining me tonight. And we will all reconvene tomorrow. Kit, I expect you to be there. There is no why.
I'm going to do that. Yes, I promise.
All right.
Promise.
I know you're in. All right. Everybody in the chat, please remember to go into the weekend. We will be back next week, next Tuesday and Friday. Stay safe out there as you enjoy your weekends, and watch out for each other. As always, be vigilant, take care, and remember always, if it's happening on the streets, you will hear about it here on Chicago Corner. I expect to see a lot of you Chicagoans joining us tomorrow night. Don't let us down. Until then,
get out and don't come back until you've redeemed yourselves.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.